people say he's done something that goes beyond the pale, he will shake his head and give this answer without fail. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he says he tells no lies and that he never jokes. Confronting with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax. A modern Don Quixote, he hates the windmills, claiming to protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them wild golfing on Scottish hills. A hoax, he said it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, changing a storm path with black marker strokes. Confronted with the truth, to say it's all a hoax. Casting mail-in ballots is something that he's done. Now he wants to ban them for each and every one. He claims it's for integrity in each election, but he won't believe the results unless it's him that's won. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, they'll fool you with distractions like real sugar in Cokes. Confronted with the truth, you'll say it's all a hoax. He promised to release all the Epstein files that caused all the maggot babes to react with smiles. But how long has he put it off? It sure has been a while, and now he's calling this a hoax, protecting pedophiles. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he'll keep on gaslighting up until he croaks. Confronted
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic. We go now, live to Liberal Dan. Yo, who you gonna call when Nazi writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
He's calling out your lies with his mic, he'll vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation contained. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish-based laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like scolary, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. For patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated, Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite, Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water, they're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite, Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite, Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right.
we got it again. The camera's not working again. Every time I reboot the whatchamacallit, I need to make sure to make sure that the camera is actually working. Would help if I actually noticed the blue light on the screen. Not that you can actually see my hands moving around or anything. But yeah, come on. Let's get. We'll just throw that up there for a second while I'm doing troubleshooting yet again, because this computer is just poo apparently. So let's do. I don't know why it's not loading. Lovely. Are we gonna have to restart the show or whatever? Are we gonna have to reboot? I don't want to have to reboot the computer again. This is not fun. Not fun at all. Why is this not working? All right, this is what we need to do. We're gonna do this. Switch to the task manager. Yeah, go grab a beer while I'm doing tech crap, because you know, can't do things the easy way, right? Let's go into the task manager, kill it that way, and then we can reopen it. And then maybe when we reopen it, it'll work properly. Try again, cliche. Try turning it off and turning it back on again. And here we go. We turned it off and turned it back on again. So there you go. Apparently I'm very good at turning things off and then turning them on again.
Oh my.
Anyway, thank you all for joining Liberal Dan Radio. Of course, Hal runs a little late today, I guess. So I'm sure more people will come in and trickle in as we go. And anything anybody misses, they could just rewind or watch from the beginning later. So as old Trumpy boy says,
it is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. So let's see. I'm trying to let's talk. What was I going to talk about today? There was a son is struggling in math, and you know, it hurts me to see my kid struggling in math, because I'm the math guy, and they should come to me whenever they have math problems, but they never do. So I look at this one question on the quiz or whatever that he got wrong, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, his answer looks right. Like, I'm looking, it's a multiple choice answer, and I'm assuming that she wanted, there was like 5 possible questions, 5 possible answers to the question, and one of them was, you know, seemed like maybe it was more right than the other, but the other one wasn't wrong. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, we've been having to deal with this math teacher for a while now. Very frustrating to deal with, and like, fortunately, at least this time, because my son goes to a Spanish immersion school, and most of the subjects, he learns things in Spanish. So usually when I have to help with his math homework, the math is being done in Spanish, so I have to pop open, you know, Google Lens and translate the stuff to be able to make sure that I can understand what the hell it's saying. But this time, magically, it just happened to be English questions. So, again, I don't know, but it's just more and more problems dealing with teachers over. God damn, that's stupid thing. I wanted to be able to talk about this topic without. Anyway, it is what it is. We'll just talk about it briefly because I don't necessarily need the news report on it. So, but first, shouts out to our Willoughby over in the Twitch chat room. We got Jeff from just north of Uranus, Steve from across the pond.
It's no Scottish, it's crap.
We got Josh in the house, Jackie here, Luck Dragon 2112, awesome. Who else has come in? Chad is here. I can combination and permutation statistics class, but I find myself struggling helping my daughter with 3rd grade math sometimes. This is 7th grade, and it was like there was another question where it basically had like a mosaic of squares. And each square on the grid was the same size, so X by X, but you know, some of the areas that was most used by the tiles or whatever were 3 squares wide, and so they were calling that Y, and then there was one that was, you know, 3 by 3, so it was Y squared, and I'm not quite understanding exactly what it is that they're getting. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I am getting what it is. I don't know. No, it still should be. My thing should be right. And I was like, you had all these things together, and if you substitute whatever the y value is, whatever y stands for, which is 3x. If you substitute a 3x every time you see y, you get the other answer. And the question was trying to tell me, why is it that those don't fit together? And I'm like, I don't know, because I can't understand what it is you're asking, because it's the same thing. It's the same thing because x and y are related, because just y is simply 3x. So I don't know. Again, I took a picture of one of the problems. I asked another question, but the other thing I asked the teacher, I'm like, look, you're gonna have to explain this to me, because I don't see what it is that he's doing that is wrong. So, yeah. Whatchamacallit? I think we've said hello to everybody in the chat today. And we're going to just start talking about the topics early. Again, I don't know how long of a show we're going to have. I had a couple of things to work on. Let's see. I got Hal Sparks to say he's going to raid when he gets done. Thank you, Susie. Appreciate you. I do have Hal kind of open in the side over here, so I kind of am keeping track as to what Hal is talking about as we're going on. I just have him on silent so you don't have to hear him. I mean, you wouldn't be forced to hear him. I mean, it's always nice to hear Hal, right? But, just want to make sure that I don't miss anything, or that I'm prepared as the show is ending, etc., etc., etc. So, good to see you, Suzanne, as well. Thank you for joining. Anyway, so let's start talking about the show topics that we want to talk about today, which include, appreciate you, CSL, thank you very much over there on Twitch. Thank you. Always love it when the sparklers join. So, but one of the first things that I heard today, or whatever, that Donald Trump is going to have his own signature instead of the Treasury Secretary's signature on bills. And of course, wonder if he thinks that's going to help the economy somewhere. Oh, people aren't going to spend the money because they're just going to sit on it because they're going to want to frame it because it's my signature. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's what he's thinking or not, or it's just because he's a megalomaniacal egomaniac, easy for me to say, who has to have his name on every single goddamn thing possible. But it is absolutely ridiculous that he has to put his name on every single goddamn thing. But yeah, so we're gonna get Donald Trump's signature. The first time that you've ever had a signature from a sitting president on money. So again, his ego is just so huge, you probably maybe, and he has no reason to be, because he's such a worthless human being. He has no business being that self-loving of himself. I mean, he could do whatever self-loving he wants. It probably would have done the world a whole favor if he would have just done more self-love and not gave birth to his spawn.
Oh my.
But still. But Trump has also put his signature on something else. He signed an executive order ordering the government to pay airport security workers. Now, if it was only that easy, why didn't he do that in the first place? But, obviously something is going to tell everybody that it's not simply as easy to take executive action to pay the TSA officers at JFK and other places that absentee rates have gone above 30%. Well, of course, I would be too, because I wouldn't be coming into work if I wasn't getting paid. F that. There's no reason why. And that's a failure of government altogether. This in and of itself isn't a failure of Donald Trump. I mean, he fails a lot. But this isn't necessarily a specific failure to Donald Trump. It should be in the law that if you are mandated to show up to work, that they cannot not pay you. You always have to consider that those funds are available, and it just should be in the law. Whether or not they need to run up more debt or not, because, well, nothing's stopping Trump from running up debt, right? I mean, he's running up debt like crazy. I mean, he's putting everything on our credit card after, trying to say, oh, it's the Democrats that do it. But yeah, he's running up everything like crazy. There shouldn't be an issue. There shouldn't be any problem with us paying workers who we deem to be essential and require them to come into work. Simple as that. But, and again, nobody has done this previously. And it should have been done previously, but they haven't. That being said, it is President Trump's fault, as we discussed yesterday, that, the TSA workers aren't getting paid simply because of the fact that, the Democrats have offered to pay the TSA workers, and even John Kennedy, senator of Louisiana, old foghorn leghorn himself, basically said, hey, we will do this. And Trump said, nope, we're not doing it because of the stupid fucking SAVE Act that he wants to have passed. So, yeah, President Donald Trump said on Thursday he will take executive action to pay 50,000 airport security workers as a deal stalled in Congress to address staff shortages that have snarled travel around the country. Trump said he was instructing the Homeland Security Department to immediately pay our TSA agents in order to address this emergency situation and to quickly stop the Democrat chaos at the airports. Again, it's your chaos. You own this. No matter how many times you want to say otherwise, you own this fucking thing. Nearly 500 security officers have quit since the start of the partial government shutdown in February. The Homeland Security Department said as a congressional dispute over department's funding forces Transportation Security Administration officers to work without pay. It is unclear how long the funding will last or if Trump is tapping funding for the Homeland Security Department approved last year as part of the massive tax and spending bill. Democrats in Congress have held up the funding. That is not true. Again, Reuters is having it wrong. It's not Democrats funding for TSA. Yes, they want to make sure that ICE has issues, but Democrats have clearly put forward legislation that would have paid TSA workers. Again, this is where the media fails. The media is constantly failing on how they report this administration. And this is why we had Donald Trump in the first term. This is why we have Donald Trump again, because the media fails at its responsibility. It abdicates its responsibility to tell the truth and to tell the news, to say what the news is properly and correctly. Yeah, the Democrats may have very well, halted overall funding for DHS because of that, but don't leave out that the Democrats have pushed bills as well to fully fund the TSA and to only restrict funding from ICE until they can have actual better regulations on ICE operations. Republicans have rejected repeated Democratic proposals to fund it separately, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's the Republicans' fault. The TSA reiterated on Wednesday that the agency could be forced to close smaller airports if staffing issues worsen. More than 11% of TSA officers, or 3,120 agents, did not show up for work on Wednesday, while much higher absentee rates of 30% or more were seen at JFK, Houston, and in Baltimore, New Orleans, and Atlanta. Chris Sununu, CEO of airline trade group Airlines for America, on Thursday reiterated his call for Congress to quickly resolve the issue. He warned that even if the Senate reaches a deal on Friday, you're probably looking at a very tough weekend because it's not going to get finalized immediately. Trump said he could deploy National Guard troops, but again, what's the use of deploying the National Guard? Same thing, what's the use of deploying ICE? There's no reason to deploy those because they're just going to stand around and twiddle their thumbs and do nothing because they don't know what to do because they're not trained. But I guess this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has put out people into the field that haven't been properly trained on what it is that they need to do. So, because competency is not a requirement in the Trump administration. All that's a requirement of the Trump administration is loyalty. Loyalty trumps competency every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Unless you have to get paid, then they're not going to get paid unless, Trump gets away with doing this. But again, if this was legal to do, if this was legal for Donald Trump to do already, then why would it be, why would it need to do it sooner? Why was there a stop in pay? Aaron, thank you very much for subscribing for 27 months over on Twitch. Appreciate you as always. And thank you for being my mod for one half of the best mod squad on the planet. TSA is grappling with a school's spring break travel surge that is 5% higher in volume than last year's. Absences have spiked above 10% in recent days, leading to hours-long delays to get through security checkpoints at some airports. Hundreds of U.S. immigration agents and Homeland Security investigations officers began deploying at 14 airports to aid security screening. But again, they don't know what to do. So if you don't know what to do, how are they going to do it? They're just going to end up shooting somebody again. Some of these agents are now checking IDs with TSA equipment, guarding entrances and exits, assisting with logistics, and engaging in crowd control. I don't trust them to do crowd control because, again, someone's going to end up dead like they already did in Minneapolis. So there's that. Let's see. Hey, Jolie, good to see you as well. Hope you're feeling better today. What else? Nancy Mace is breaking with Trump on a key Iran vote. Republican Nancy Mace told Axios that she will most likely vote for the House Democrats' resolution to constrain President Trump from waging war with Iran in the next time it comes up for a vote. Even if the measure passed both houses, Trump could veto it, but Mace's support puts the House one step closer to a major rebuke of the administration's Middle East operations. Mace emerged as a suddenly fierce critic of the Iran war this week, declaring Wednesday that she will vote against funding further operations in the region. But she went a step further on Thursday, telling Axios in a text message, "War with Iran needs to end. President Trump has won the war. Time to exit. I'm not voting to send South Carolina's sons and daughters into battle to die for the price of oil." So even there's mutiny afoot on the part of the Republicans in Congress, which is good to see, but a little too late. Again, another problem that could be going on that should have been dealt with by previous governments or whatever is that there simply should be wording that says if it's going to go beyond a certain amount of money spent, that it requires us to approve it. It requires us to declare war. So you have to come to us to ask us for the money. Now, again, should a president be able to, defensively, order the troops to do something? Abso-frickin-lutely. Should the president be able to, do a needed surgical strike to take out something that would be an immediate threat? Absolutely. But that's not what this is happening in Iran. This is not what's going on in Iran right now. And because of that, it should be considered an illegal war. And there should be laws in place set up to basically require the president to always have to come to this Congress, so that Congress can't simply vote to, or just simply say this: if Congress votes to shut off funding for any particular military operation, it is not subject to a presidential veto. That it just goes in because it's the check on the power of the presidency. One of two ways can happen. And so what we will need to have is the next president will have to come in and basically agree to do something like that, or else we're going to get stuck in this situation every time we get a megalomaniacal egomaniac in office, right? So what else? Did I miss anybody else who's jumped into the chat? It does not look like it. So a Maryland homeowner is accused of calling and aiding ICE to detain workers fixing her roof. Now a legal expert says she may have committed a felony. So basically, as the story goes, and of course this is an allegation, I wasn't there, I don't know. No charges have been pressed, so we can only go based off of what is happening in here. But apparently there was a men working on the roof, and a Maryland woman basically called, hey, come here, fix my roof. And then she called ICE on them, and then they came in. At the end of the 30-minute video, 6 Guatemalan workers had been detained. Their coworker, Brian Polanco, who filmed the entire encounter, pointed his camera at the homeowner and made the accusation that would turn a rooftop in Cambridge, Maryland into a national story. She was the one who called ICE on the men fixing her house. Then, according to the footage, she handed agents the ladder they used to reach them. We were starting a job and immigration showed up. The entire incident was live streamed for 30 minutes by Brian Polanco, who has been identified in multiple reports as a Dominican national with permanent U.S. residency and a member of the same roofing crew. Polanco was not detained. His coworkers weren't as lucky. Polanco can be heard calmly asserting his right to film while cooperating with agents. "I have every right to record," he tells an officer. "I'm not doing anything wrong either." The 6 detained workers were between 18 and 40 years old, according to a Univision DC report. Roofing company involved has not publicly commented on the incident. Instead of going after criminals, they come after people who work. What turned a local ICE detention into a viral story was the allegation that the homeowner reportedly called immigration authorities on the very worker she'd hired, timing the call to land just right as they were about to finish the job, and she still owed them $10,000 for. "We were starting this job and immigration showed up. Truth is, they're hurting working people who do good work for the country. Instead of going after criminals in the streets, the drug addicts, they come after the people who work." Polanco later told Univision that the homeowner made her position clear even beyond the call itself. "What she did tell me, and I told one of the other guys, is that immigrants come back again to finish the project. She was always going to call ICE." When agents left with the 6 men, their work van remained behind, doors wide open, thousands of dollars in tools inside. Nobody secured the van. Near the end of the live stream, Polanco turns the camera towards the homeowner's property. She's outside tidying up around her house, the same house that the detained men had been repairing. That's the same woman. We came to fix this lady's house, and she's the one who turned on us, fixing up her house, and still with hatred in her heart. He pauses before adding quietly, it's sad, but at the same time, everything has its purpose. But there is a legal expert in Maryland, Aaron Reichlin Melnick, a senior fellow at the American Immigration Council, responded to the footage with a legal observation. Very serious and disturbing allegation about the homeowner calling ICE on people working on a roof. While the facts aren't fully in yet, if the allegation is true, it seems this would be a felony under Maryland law. A person may not obtain, attempt to obtain, or conspire to obtain money, property, labor, services, or anything of value from another person with the person's consent, if the consent is induced by wrongful use of actual or threatened 1. Force or violence, 2. Economic injury, 3. Destruction, concealment, removal, confiscation, or possession of any immigration or government identification document, or 4. Notification of law enforcement officials about another person's undocumented or illegal immigration status. So Maryland has made it a felony to basically say, hey, I'm going to hire you to come do my job, and then call ICE on them to get out of paying for the job that you hired them to do. Good on Maryland for passing such a law. That should be the law in all 50 states. I doubt it's a law in many of the red states. I would be shocked to hear that if it was a law in Louisiana or Texas or Florida or any of the other red states that voted for Donald John Trump, right? See, all of the details circulating from Cambridge footage. One keeps resurfacing the ladder. ICE agents needed to reach the worker still positioned on the roof. In the footage, the homeowner appears to provide the ladder herself. The same person who hired the men to repair her home physically handed a ladder to federal agents and gave them the tool to detain these individuals. Hillary Clinton maybe was wrong in just simply calling these people deplorables. It goes much worse than that. And thank you, Alyosher, for the 14 bits over on Twitch. Appreciate you. Let's see. A daughter sold her last house to get out of homeowners association. New division now. She said it might start. She said might start one. Everyone was required to give her dogs treats. The only rule. I mean, if you're going to have a homeowners association and that's the only rule, then I would absolutely support giving good doggos more treats. So, you know, that's awesome. But I would also never want to live anywhere with a homeowners association. This is the thing. Like, you have conservatives who will join these homeowner associations thinking that they're going to have, we're going to have control over our own neighborhood. And then they turn out, you know, being told that you can't fly a flag or something. And then they'll cry, this is America. We should be able to have free speech. Well, not if you voted a compact with the rest of your neighbors to basically say that you can only erect certain flags or certain things at certain times, right? Or certain flagpoles, whatever it is. You can't, you know, just be all willy-nilly with your property. And this is why one of the reasons I reject a lot of the conservative views as to where they feel the government threat is. Like, conservatives hate big federal government. They hate the big federal government. They think it's overarching. But the big federal government, you know, in many cases, is way over there and just doing things that are not affecting me directly every day. Of course, under Donald Trump and conservatism, I'm anticipating a Sparks rate in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Didn't quite get it, but it should be happening soon. But anyway, conservatives are afraid of the big, scary, big government, but have no problem. There you go. I missed it by 5 seconds. There you go. Thank you, Hal, for rating the channel. Appreciate you. Thank you, Cosmic Rose, Spiny Normal, CSL, Andrea, the mods on both places. Thank you, Korean68, Sarah. Appreciate all of y'all for stopping by and joining Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. Right as quickly as Hal Sparks has left the airwaves, or as he's still streaming or whatever. Appreciate every single one of you from joining up. And of course, I think for some reason, the YouTube raid happens much more slowly than the Twitch raid. But, you know, as old Donnie Boy says,
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. So, but yeah, as we're talking about the homeowners associations, and where I, you know, would never join a neighbor or live in a neighborhood that required me to sign up with a homeowners association, because I don't want to give those people in it. And comparing it to the power that happens, hey Jen as well, hey X21, X23 as well. I would not want to have that people having this little, you know, power over me directly. Like, the further and further away government is from me, the less likely it is going to have effect directly on my life. Now, indirectly, absolutely, there could be all levels of government can have indirect levels of life. And, of course, when government does things like, you know, overturn abortion rights, that's obviously going to have it's obviously going to be an issue with, you know, individual rights and liberties, etc. So there's that. Yeah, just an organization of nosy neighbors. Exactly. Nosy neighbors indeed. So, but again, thank you, Hal Sparks, for rating over here on the YouTube stream as well. Appreciate y'all for that. I just happened to notice my Hal screen go to me, so I can close that screen now. But please remember, and no, YouTube, I'm not going to insert ads now. Creators earn more money inserting ads while viewers are watching. Give it a try. No, I am not going to do that. Thank you for the follow, NNY777. 777 is a great number. Why? Because that's my wedding anniversary. I got married on July 7th, 2007. But why would I force ads during the live stream on people who I want to induce to come watch me more often? No, I'm not that greedy when it comes to it. Some other people do run ads during the shows, and that's fine. That's their decision to make. But if live ads during the show make you miss parts of the show, whereas ads thrown into the show afterwards, you don't miss part of the show. That's the huge difference. So I'd rather y'all watch live and not miss anything than have y'all, you know, have to come in and immediately have an ad play, which is ridiculous. So atrocious at every game. Can you imagine if Biden played ads right after the Sparkler raid?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, that screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Water Goddess says, I live in one, but mine is only $350 a year, and that includes trash removal for the year. I have no problem with mine, but we don't have anything like a neighborhood pool or anything. I mean, I'm sure there are ones that are fine, but all of the horror stories I would not want to. And I'm like, there's a neighborhood association, and then it's not a homeowners association, but it's a neighborhood association, and funnily enough, I'm the last elected president of the neighborhood association, and then all my board members just disappeared, and I have no idea what to do to fix that and resolve the situation. But, you know, as Trumpy boy says again, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. Hey, Big Hook, good to see you as well. And everybody who's a sparkler, please make sure to 203 viewers. Wow, that might almost be a record. 42 likes. Make sure to smash that like button as you come on in. Subscribe to the channel as well. Appreciate it. We're trying to get to. I would love to get to 2,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is May 20th. And I'd love to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And that's, to me, that's a doable amount. I'd love to see that happening, but I can only do it, again, comment, like, share, etc. Smash all those response buttons, whatever, all of the hearts and hundreds of ever reacting that you have on YouTube. Helps the algorithm, and as we all say, Al Gore needs more rhythm. Anyway, so I would never, again, I think we've beat the dead horse on the Homeowners Association. I wasn't even planning on talking about that, but just someone happened to mention that in the YouTube chat. Let's see, Soulcraft, I have a logo design that's 3 septograms integrated to equal 777. I put it on my Blue Sky, replaced by robots. I will, if I can remember that, I will have to check that out. Because again, I love 777. Obviously, it's a great number because that's when we got married. I always say, if I ever forget my wedding anniversary, it's time to just put me in a home because I've gone senile. I've turned full Trump at that point. So freaking flies in here as well. So there was another, remember, you know, the last show we were talking about the United States voting against the women's rights vote because, you know, it's the United States under Donald Trump. And of course, the people who are representing us in the United Nations are going to be as deplorable as everybody else in the Trump administration, right? But yeah, the UN resolution urges reparations for slavery's historical wrongs. Applause erupted in the UN General Assembly on Wednesday as member states adopted a resolution declaring transatlantic slave trade the greatest crime against humanity. spearheaded by Ghana. It received 123 votes in favor. 3 countries, Argentina, Israel, and the United States, all voted against, and 52 abstained. Now, I don't know why you're abstaining from such a vote, but I don't know what Argentina has about it. Maybe it's all the former Nazis living there. I don't know. But clearly, Netanyahu and Trump are going to be 2 peas in a frickin' ridiculous pod. Yes, it says, today we come together in solemn solidarity to affirm truth and pursue a route to healing and reparative justice, says Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama, speaking ahead of the vote on behalf of the 54-member African group, the largest regional bloc in the United Nations, for more than 400 years. I mean, we know the history of slavery. Declined their basic humanity, even their own names. They were forced to endure generations of exploitation with repercussions that reverberate through today, including persistent anti-black racism and discrimination. The resolution emphasized the trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity by reason of the definitive break in the world history, scale, duration, systemic nature, brutality, and enduring consequences that continue to structure the lives of all people through the racialized regimes of labor, property, and capital. And I only have 2 problems with that sentence. 1, they don't use the Oxford comma, and 2, they use the needless U in labor. But other than that, I agree with that statement. Let's see. It affirmed the importance of addressing historical wrongs affecting Africans and people of the diaspora in a manner that promotes justice, human rights, dignity, and healing, while emphasizing that claims for reparations represent a concrete step towards the remedy. The text was highly problematic in countless respects, says Dan Negrea, U.S. Representative to the UN Economic and Social Council, and he said that prior to the vote, he regretted that Washington must once again remind this body that the United Nations exists to maintain international peace and security, was not founded to advance narrow, specific interests and agendas to establish niche international days or create new costly meeting and reporting mandates. No, this is not a niche thing. Slavery impacted a lot of people in this world, and, a lot of people who never made it out of slavery, and their families afterwards, should get reparations. We are very much in support of reparations here on Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. Furthermore, he says, the U.S. does not recognize a legal right to reparations for historical wrongs that were not illegal under international law at the time that they occurred. So just because it was legal back then, or not, just because it was not illegal back then, there's a little difference there, that somehow that we're not going to recognize the right for legal right for reparations. It was a horrific practice. And, obviously, the Republicans are not going to support it because the Republicans never want to admit that America did anything wrong. You have idiots like Ron DeSantis who says things like, oh, well, slavery was good for black people because it taught people how to do a trade. Well, again, it didn't teach people how to do a trade and actually work for themselves for all of the people who died while enslaved. Yes, there are some people who came out of slavery who may have had a skill, but then many of those people had to go turn back around and start sharecropping on the land and never really made any money because the white plantation owners, the former slaveholders, would then turn back around and make these horrible deals. Or they would just create rules like loitering laws to basically arrest black people for hanging around places because they didn't have jobs because they just got out from being enslaved. And then they got locked up into prison, and guess what? Their labor was then sold to the same slave owners who previously owned them. So not even the 13th Amendment ended slavery, it just ended chattel slavery without, the ownership of people, but it still allowed the governments to then flip that around and then be the ones who provided the slave labor to the plantations. And to the people who want to say we shouldn't have reparations, I'd say this. You did not own a slave. Nobody currently in this country has ever owned a slave. But we are all benefiting from the labor that was provided to us by those who were enslaved. It's as simple as that. It's stolen wages, stolen labor, stolen opportunity. And I'm going to sit here and say there are some people who only believe that African descendants of slavery, aka ADOS, when we say ADOS, that's what we mean. There are some people who will only say, that will say that only ADOS should get reparations from our racist past in this country. And I disagree with that. I think that if you've lived as a black person in America today, you deal automatically, everything else being equal, you deal with the setbacks that our society has placed on black Americans in this country because of the systemic racism that still exists in this country and because of the systemic racism that happened in the past that included, Jim Crow, the bombing of Black Wall Street and Tulsa, all of the other, examples that have been used to where government has basically made it impossible for black people to be equal in this country for a very long time, even after slavery, means that there are more people than just the slaves or the people who were enslaved who were harmed. So even if the enslavement was over and other people came into the country, you still had to deal with Jim Crow. You still had to deal with the bombing of Black Wall Street. You still had to deal with redlining in communities when it came to issuing loans and mortgages or whatever. You had to deal with segregation in schools. You had to deal with indifferent opportunities. You had to deal with separate water fountains, bathrooms, etc. The history of racism in this country is horrific, and it didn't stop at the ending of slavery. So the who should get reparations shouldn't stop just because you can't trace a line from yourself back to somebody who was enslaved. So, but people will say, "Oh, it wasn't my should I have to pay for it?" Well, why should you have to pay for something that you're getting a benefit for free, or that you're benefiting from, because of other people's labor? Wonder why. But I'll put it this way as well. We should have, let's say you and I, let's say, point Chad in the chat over in YouTube. Let's say, Chad, I had a grandfather, and let's say my grandfather stole your grandfather's watch. Okay? Let's say my grandfather stole your grandfather's watch, and then you had no idea what happened to it. And both your grandfather and my grandfather passed away, and then all of a sudden we hang out one day, and you see that I'm wearing this watch, and you say, "Can I see the back of your watch for a second?" And I take off the watch. I'm like, "Sure." Like, that's my grandfather's initials. This is my grandfather's watch. So, but I didn't steal the watch. It was just given to me by my grandfather. I did nothing wrong. Should I have to return your grandfather's watch to you? I would say yes, because that watch belongs in your family and not in my family. But let's say something happened and I broke it, then I should have to pay you for whatever I inherited that was not mine, that should have been yours, that is now broken. Does that make sense to anybody out there who might disagree with the idea? And let's maybe make it even simpler. Let's say that there was a duffel bag full of money, and that my grandfather stole a duffel bag of money from your grandfather, and it was just kind of hidden away somewhere and forgotten about. And then all of a sudden I'm going through my house and I find this duffel bag of money, and you were like, "Oh, well, that was my grandfather's money." Well, I didn't steal it, so why should I have to pay it back? That money, the lost wages, the value. I think the value of, I've talked about this on the show before. I have to look back up the exact numbers again. But the value that was put by the enslavers on the slave labor that they lost was some very high number. Now take that dollar amount and expand that with inflation, and also expand that through how money can grow over time from like 1865 to now, and you'll see exactly how much wealth was stolen from black Americans simply by stealing their labor and by taking away their economic opportunities. So you stole opportunity from black Americans by enslaving them, and then even after freeing them, you stole more opportunity from Jim Crow, you stole more opportunity from redlining. The amount of wealth that could have been built up in black communities in this country would have been amazing for the black community. And our country and our country's laws did that. So if our country and our country's laws did that, then our country and our country's laws should be used to help reimburse those families, those individuals who should be should be in a much better position than they are already. And the people who benefited from that, those are ill-gotten gains. So that's my argument that I would make for anybody who might be in opposition to paying of reparations. Is maybe a Liberal Dan U episode should be made about that. I've been looking for Liberal Dan U episodes or topics to make, and maybe the idea of reparations is one that I could potentially cover in an episode of Liberal Dan U. If you haven't seen Liberal Dan U, if you're on Twitch, you haven't followed me over on YouTube yet, make sure to subscribe over on YouTube. Subscribing on YouTube is free. And you could check out the Liberal Dan U. I have a couple of videos that are in the hopper, but there are a couple other ones that could happen. Wow, I didn't realize, I don't know if I remember, if you said that or not before, Chad, that your anniversary is 7/7/12. So we both got married on July 7th. That's awesome. So I have a lot of stuff that scrolled on by. Let's see, Jeff, what if a guy robbed a bank before they found him? I'd broke in and stole the money. Do I get charged with breaking and entering and theft? Probably. They'd probably get you both, because you did, unless you were breaking into the person's house to go return the money back to the bank, then you'd probably if you broke into the person's house to steal the money and then return all that money back to the bank, then maybe you would be able to at least get it. If they charged you, maybe the jury would do jury nullification and be like, hey, we're not going to make this person go to prison because he was trying to right a wrong or whatever. But yeah, if you stole from person A and then I stole from you, we would both, we'd both probably go to prison. So let's see, Jennifer. Also, women's issues is important. So important. My grandmother kept the land that she had in her name separate from her husband's because it was important to her to have a woman in her family that only had land. So we're talking about generational wealth. Exactly. But yeah, thank you, Rose. There should be no statute of limitations on slavery. What's not a good analogy? What? The same thing with the stolen art and bank accounts from Nazis, from Jews. I mean, yeah, as a Jewish person, there were people, and there are Jewish people who have gotten reparations, survivors of the Holocaust who have gotten reparations from that as well. So bank robbery is not a good analogy. I mean, fine, but whatever. I was just responding to somebody else's comment in chat. So let's see. Actually, that comment from Jennifer actually hits home a little hard, simply because of the fact that my wife, if one of her former relatives would have kept the property in her name only and in the name of the family, and had not gone to her husband that married into the family, my wife may very well have had a decent amount of generational wealth that could have been built up, but for some reason the people in my family or my wife's family were overly generous as it pertained to the property that they owned. My wife jokes around that she's an oil heiress, an oil baron or whatever, simply because of the fact that they are required to pay out, like they sold oil well to somebody, but under the law they had to keep like a certain percentage of it, and that percentage just got split amongst the family, smaller and smaller and smaller. I think the last check she got was like for 12 cents. That's how much that oil well is producing my wife. It cost more to mail the check than it did to actually, cash the check. So, but yeah. Let's see. Bingo. Civil War ended in 1865. It was 100 years before people addressed basic human rights for black people. Very good. Very good point. So what else? Luck Dragon. I'm scared to get a tanning bed with ice running. Wait, what? I don't know. That's kind of a random comment in the chat. What else? History matters, but the generations that follow can't be responsible for their ancestors, but the oppressed need to be recompensed. But that's the thing, is like, it's going to come from our tax dollars. So I mean, one of the things I said, the way you fund reparations is you legalize weed, you legalize marijuana, and you tax it. If you legalize marijuana and put a federal tax on it, that tax could then go towards the reparations of people. Of course, it should also, if you legalize weed and tax it, you should also free everybody who got put in prison for selling it, and then also pay them back as well, which, you know, then muddies the water a little bit or whatever. Let's see what else did I miss in the chat. Quanic says, no, only white people's paychecks should be withheld for the 33% for the 250 years. I don't even think it's that case, because here's the thing. If you, like, let's take Oprah, for example. Oprah's a billionaire, right? So Oprah has been able to get wealthy in this country as a billionaire because of what this country has to offer. Doesn't mean that she isn't due reparations, but she'll have to pay still increased taxes as it pertains to any reparations tax that gets thrown on to the American public. So the people who are poor, people who make less money, the working class, you know, are going to pay very little or nothing when it comes to the reparations that might get assessed on however we decide to tax things to make sure that we can pay out reparations. But then the people who are working class and who get that might get the reparations still. And then, you know, even if somebody like Oprah might qualify for reparations, it should be like a tax credit or something. You could probably do it on that. Do it yearly, annually or whatever, show certain amounts paid out. And then you could do something like, hey, well, yeah, it's a tax credit that you get, but you're still paying a whole bunch of taxes, or at least you should be paying a bunch of taxes. But then again, we need to tax billionaires more than we are because we have too many loopholes that allow billionaires to go around and get no money whatsoever. So that's another issue. That's another issue that would happen. Anyway, so that's the conversation on that. Let's see what we want to chat about. Let's see, when they legalized gambling on horse racing in Texas, it was supposed to subsidize education. Never happened. When they made the Powerball, I think Powerball money does go towards education here in Louisiana. But again, I'm not exactly sure how much of it does or not. So whatever. It is what it is, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I keep stealing Donald Trump's line.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. So Donald Trump is another recipient of another participation trophy. This time, it's the America First Award. This bullshit. Let's hear what all Speaker Johnson has to say.
Because of his accomplishments, and because of his willingness to work literally around the clock to fix
Yeah, work around the clock. Sure, okay.
every issue that has faced this country, to change the global partnerships, to make America strong again on the world stage.
Yeah, we're not strong again in the world stage. We already were militarily strong. We had the strongest military in the world. Nothing that any Trump has done has changed that at all. Nothing Biden or Obama did or Clinton did either changed that either. We already had the strongest military in the world. What he is doing is weakening us politically when it comes to our relationships with our allies who are wanting to more and more get away from us.
To solve all the domestic problems that we are facing in this country, the president has done so much for the American people, and we want to honor him in some small way, some token of our appreciation for his.
We want to kiss his ass because he has such a big ego, and he, is unhinged that he has to be rewarded for doing his job. Like, let's say all of that was true. Let's say all of that was true, which is not. But if all of that was true, guess what? That's your fucking job as president. You don't need awards to do. You shouldn't need an award to do your fucking job. You're already getting a paycheck, and yeah, you might be donating the paycheck. You're getting much more than what you already need as recognition for whatever it is that you think that you have done as president. But he likes nice shiny things, so he needs to get another nice shiny thing, I guess, or not so nice, not so shiny.
Leadership, and so tonight we have created a new award. We're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to honor him with a new award that we'll present annually from this point forward.
And I'm sure next year it'll go to Trump, and then next year it'll go to Trump. It'll just keep going to Trump, right? Who else is going to get it? Or maybe it might go to one of Trump's kids if Trump decides, I don't need it this year. I'm fine being the first, or whatever.
but he is the suitable and fitting recipient of the first ever America First Award. We can think of no better title for what that is.
And of course, you know, we watched what President George W. Bush had to say. He was basically talking about the problematic nature of America First policies, because using America First policies, we ignore atrocities that took place, and as such, things happened like, you know, the Holocaust. Manga might is a suck up, but he shouldn't search that or whatever, because he might get some, you know, dirty porn site that his son will then see that he, you know, looked at, because him and his son use an app that basically tells each other what websites they go to, and, you know, ew. Anyway.
That's this beautiful golden statue here, appropriate for the new golden era in America. The individual.
It's a golden shower era, mind you, not a golden era, but a golden shower era for under Donald Trump.
Oh my.
And the gold is really pyrite, because it's fool's gold, because he's, you know, fucking fool. Anyway. And there's that little birdie right there, right in the corner of the screen.
That is responsible for all of that success. It's a team effort, but it's led by the commander-in-chief at the top. So we want to bring out the President of the United States in just a moment and thank him for his unwavering commitment to the American people.
Yeah.
And because of that, it is our honor, on behalf of all House Republicans, all of you here, and all patriots across the country, present the very first America First Award to the 45th
Easy for him to say.
and the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Falling behind your competition?
No, I'm not. See, this is why we don't like ads.
Come on out.
Oh, I guess I gotta not play that, because I might get a copyright strike for Lee Greenwood being played. Yes, Jolie, I do hate this timeline as well. We're gonna probably wait. Oh, I'm gonna give hugs and shake hands. Shake babies and kiss hands. We still hearing proud to be an American? Yep. We're still hearing proud to be an American. Many people are not so proud to be an American today. And there's that eagle. That big, terrifying eagle. We'll get to that in a second. Thought he was going to say something, but let's, there we go.
So big, nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing.
Oh, no one's ever seen.
So I'll use the word military operation. Military operation.
Oh, come on, let's scroll back a little more. Nope.
They don't like the word war because you're supposed to get approval. So I'll use the word.
They don't like the term war because you're supposed to get approval, which I don't care about because I don't give a crap about the law. But we're gonna call it an operation. I bet you he played Operation and he would buzz all the time as well. So Impeccable Living, good to see you, Impeccable Living.
Oh my.
Thank you for showing. I appreciate it. I haven't seen you. I missed you it's been a while, man.
Military operation. We're winning so big, nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it.
What the hell?
Because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us.
It's a different background?
There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran.
Because we just murdered them all amid laughter and merriment. Yeah, perhaps he thinks the whole world is blind, you know, because no one has ever seen anything before. I mean, like, nobody, well, just like everybody, no, he didn't think anybody knew anything. But, like, everything has to be made to be grandiose for Trump, because that's, again, like a big reward and a big trophy and a big this and a big that, a big ballroom, even though I don't have big balls.
I don't want it.
No, I don't want it.
We listen to some of the things they say. We hear them very clearly. They say, I don't want it. We'd like to make you the next supreme leader. No, thank you. I don't want it.
I mean, if that's the way, but still, no, we're still team natural causes here on Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. But yeah, nobody offered him to be the next supreme leader, except for, you know, maybe somebody lied to him and said that that's what they were saying because, you know, they like to lie to him. Then apparently they're showing him videos of every day, where he's getting a video of, like, you know, all of the hits of all of the, oh, here's this big strike, here's this big strike, here's this big boom, here's this big boom. Apparently there's going to be 10 days of no bombing or whatever. I'll believe that when I see it. I'm sure there'll be plenty of, I'm sure he'll go back on it like 3 days later, and then he'll come up with some reason as to why he had to go back on 3 days later. Why? Because he's going to manipulate the stock market. He's going to say no bombing for 10 days, stocks go up, then he'll bomb, then he'll sell stocks, and then he'll say he'll start bombing, and then everyone else will sell, and then he'll drop down, and then he'll buy stocks again, and, you know, market manipulation, because that's what this is all about. Again, when people say taco, when people say he chickens out about things, it's not because he's chickening it out. It's because he's manipulating the stock market to enrich himself and his rich buddies. So, Veronica, he has to run out of snake oil soon. Well, then he'll just sell some other animal's oil, right?
I agree with them 100%, but I do. We did a lot. We settled 8 wars. But I actually thought, when I went on this excursion, as I call it.
It's an operation. It's an excursion. I call it all sorts of things. I use so many words. I have the best words. Nobody has better words.
Excursion into hell. Excursion into a terrible place. When I went on to do something that for 47 years should have been done by any of the other presidents, and you heard numerous of them said they wished they did it.
None of them did that. Liar. Every single living president has said that is a false statement.
But they didn't have the guts to do it. We had no choice. But I thought it would be much worse. I thought that the energy prices, oil price would go up higher. I thought the stock market would go somewhat lower. But it didn't matter to me.
But nothing matters, because you already have your money, and you're able to know. So you're probably a bunch of those deals that have gone on these, you know, betting sites, these non-betting betting sites. I'm sure you've made a bunch of money there too, or at least somebody else has done it for you.
Short term, what we had to do is get rid of the cancer. We had to cut out the cancer.
Let's see, just saw a post by BTC. Trump is putting a signature on all paper currency. Yes, I just talked about that today on Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. So did I beat Brian Tyler Cohen to it? Maybe, you never know. Next, he'll change the name of the Kennedy Space Center to Trump Space Center because he created Space Force, I'm sure. Sure, I mean, he's going to put his name on everything. Can you imagine if Biden had wanted to put his name on everything?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Well, Jennifer got the dancing emojis over there. What happened to Atrocious? Did you step away for a second and miss it?
The cancer was Iran with a nuclear weapon. We've cut it out. Now we're going to finish it off.
This is a song about my first.
This is a very weirdly edited video.
Cop named Comey, and therefore he's. But with your help this November, we'll defeat the radical left Democrats and we'll win a midterm victory like our...
That's the problem with wanting to watch whole videos without watching the whole videos. I then see that this video is very weirdly edited.
Country has never seen for whatever reason.
Like nobody's ever seen. Take a drink.
But a president who wins, Republican or Democrat, almost always does poorly in the midterms. Nobody knows why, even if it's a successful presidency. And
because people are fickle. Either because people are fickle and the president hasn't done enough of what they want to do, so then they flip back and they forget what happened the last time the Republicans were in office, or the Republicans show how bad they are, and then everyone's like, oh, this is why we don't like the Republicans in office, and then they go vote for the Democrats. So
there are those that say this has been the first, I mean, really the best first year ever for a president, and I agree with that.
And all the people that say it are the people who I'm paying to say it, to kiss my ass, and it costs a lot to get people to kiss my ass because of how shit-ridden my diapers are.
And I must tell you, I agree with them 100%, but I do. We did a lot. And in so doing, I sent ICE to the airports yesterday, and they have been so great.
They've been so great. They've been standing around and handing out water and putting people in the lines and arresting people who I want arrested.
They have been so great. And you know what's happened? And they didn't need any rehabilitation, but they did in terms of the fake news. And they're doing such an unbelievable job at the airports.
Like no one's ever seen.
They had one line. It was 4 hours yesterday, and today was a half an hour.
I'm sure later it became longer because they probably took the numbers from like the beginning of the day or whatever. But, you know, again, we don't believe anything coming from the mouths of the people in this administration because all they know how to do is lie.
Big, big difference. And if we have to, we're going to send in the National Guard if we need to. Because we only, you know, we have 6,000 ICE agents and we have 40,000 of the other people that they're helping.
He can't even remember the same word that he was trying to say. I don't remember. I have the best brain. No one has a better brain except for my brain, which isn't good. Blah, blah, blah.
Out some of who really were forced because the Democrats don't want to pay them.
Lies, lies, lies. You're a lying liar who lies there, Donnie boy. The Democrats have put 7 bills up. The Republicans have rejected it at your behest. Senator Kennedy said that they had a deal in place that they could get the funding for the TSA. And guess what? He said no. So this is a Donald Trump issue, not a Democrat issue. And the media needs to do a better job saying that, but they won't because the media, the corporate media, isn't going to bite the hand that feeds them. As I say in the intro song to Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left. That's right.
The Democrats don't want to pay them. You have to remember that. The radical.
Remember the lie, because that's the only way I win is by lying.
Left Democrats need to get DHS back and open immediately together. But from now until November, we're going to fight, and I'm going to personally campaign for every one of you. We're going to go to...
that has done a lot of people got it good, huh? You have flipped 0 seats and have had 29 seats flipped on y'all. And good luck with that. I really would love to see Donald Trump out there campaigning as all that. Because the more he's out there campaigning, the less harm he could do as president, right? Because he's too busy being a politician and he won't be able to, you know, he won't have his eyes on the ball, so to speak. But, you know.
Win in midterms. We're going to have even bigger majorities in the House and the Senate.
Delusional. Denial is not just a river in Egypt.
That we have today. Going to help all of you. And the other thing you need is you need fair, free, safe, honest elections.
And we have it. You just don't want to admit it, but we have it.
You need that. And the only way you're going to get that is the Save America Act. You got to add the word America. Oh.
If you don't add the word America, it just doesn't have the right ring to it. Will this med bed fit on a plane? I don't know. Probably.
When I watch these people, they hate saying Save America Act. They always say the Save Act. Nobody knows what the hell the Save Act means. Save America.
Nobody knows. We know what it means. We know what it does. And we know that, you know, you're trying to make separate rules for different people, which is a violation of the Constitution. But, you know, hey.
America is good. The Save Act, are you trying to save terrorism? What are you trying to... It could be you're saving...
What?
Anything. Then you have to stick together.
They want to save the windmills, and I don't like the windmills. We're not going to have any windmills. Make America windmill-less again.
A modern Don Quixote, he hates the windmills, claiming to protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them wild golfing on Scottish hills.
The Republicans have to stick together. So we won't just re-elect.
The Republicans have to stick together like the poop sticks to the toilet paper and sticks to my butt cheeks and sticks to my diapers.
Our majorities this November.
That's the O word. Remember I was trying to think about how I was trying to think of an O word for Trump and I couldn't think of one. There you go. Oligarchy. That's the O word that he would be using.
We'll expose the corruption and radicalism of the Democrat Party. It's a lunatic. It's a party of lunatics. We'll defeat the forces of national destruction. We'll complete our mission of national renewal, and the Republican Party will grow larger, stronger, and more dominant than ever before. We have a chance to do that.
Yeah, okay.
Because we're competing against lunatics, and the public knows it. And
every conservative accusation is a confession, and all conservative claims are projections too.
Seeing it every single day. And together with all of you, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again.
No, it's not America wealthy. America is already wealthy, and the wealthier are getting wealthier because the stock market's up really super high. But that's only helping the people who have the majority of the shares in the stock market, which are the very rich people.
We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make...
Are his words slurring more and more?
America proud again. We will make America safe again. And most importantly, we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Republicans. Go out and win the midterms.
And I guess one of the things Hal talked about the other day was that even if they got the SAVE Act passed, it doesn't take effect until 2027. So, I mean, it doesn't do them a lot of good for the midterm elections, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to him talk or whatever, and I'm also trying to remember. I was trying to think of an O word, and the O word couldn't have been the big O. I was like, well, we all know Stormy would tell you that he didn't give anybody the big O because he's probably doesn't give a crap about giving people the big O, and probably would, even if he wanted to, he probably couldn't anyway. But still,
oh my.
Now I'm not even remembering what it was, what acronym that we were using that I wanted to find the O word for anyway. So can somebody remember what that was? Because I am blanking on it at the moment. This one thing, they used an eagle as the big, American eagle. I get it. It's fine. I guess it's understandable why they might use an eagle, symbol of our country or whatever. But I just find it odd that they created this America First trophy with this big giant eagle. And anybody remember this? That's our president there, ladies and gentlemen. The symbol of America knows that, he's a gigantic piece of shit. There's Trump flinching at the eagle coming after his dumbass. Odious oligarch overlord. Saturday can't come fast enough. I might go crazy tomorrow. What else? He never came to drain the swamp. He came to drain the treasury. Yeah, I've made similar comments the first time. I was like, Donald Trump is going to drain the swamp and replace it with a swampier swamp. Or when Donald Trump says he wants to turn Washington, D.C. upside down, it's because he wants to flip the cushions and shake all the loose change out of it. So, hey, Christine, I was just thinking about you today. I was like, I hadn't seen you in a few days, but good to see you, Christine. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. What's up on Turnstone? What's up, Sharky? Anybody else? Nick Rich. Good to see you, Nick. Trying to see if anybody else that I've missed. Brenda. I don't know if I said hello, Brenda. Hey, Tim. Who else? I think I got some of the other people, whatever. But we still have 139 viewers and 72 likes. So 73 likes. Please make sure to smash the like button, either as you leave or just now, because it helps the algorithm, and Algor needs more rhythm. So today, again, we might not watch this entire thing today, but there's definitely some parts in here that definitely need to be watched, which is the press conference not really press conference, but the cabinet meeting, the first cabinet meeting after the Iran war started. Brenda goes, birds aren't real. Birds are an FBI psyop. What's up, Orb Vroomer? Of course we missed you.
Brian's been on an excursion.
What's up, Primitive Icon? Good to see you as well. Thank you for joining. Remember to smash that like. Thank you for the $2 Canadian. Thank you for the toonie. Nick, appreciate you for the toonie.
shut down. Shut down by the radical Democrats, right? But Democrats are really punishing the American people. I saw it today on one of the shows where they were interviewing people at the airport, and they're all angry at the Democrats. They say,
no, they're angry at Congress, but, you know, again, the media doesn't do its job and let everybody know that the reason why we're having the shutdown is you dumbass.
they're actually angry at Schumer. I didn't think anyone knew his name. One woman said, that Schumer is disgraceful. He said,
nobody knew Schumer's name. I knew his name, but nobody knows it. Everybody knew.
Disgrace to our country. But they're angry at the Democrats. They know what's happening. But they're punishing the American people, including travelers at airports, all in the...
And he's reading all of that from he can't look at the camera and say this. He can't actually, you know, engage with the cameras. He has to read all of this from a piece of paper. And, you know, they mocked Obama for using a frickin', you know, teleprompter. Jesus Christ. He has to read from this they could have at least have a TV behind the reporters that basically said so he could actually make it look like he's looking at the cameras instead of that. I mean, come on.
Request to return to open borders and give amnesty to illegal alien criminals. They want to give amnesty.
Wasn't it Reagan that gave amnesty to 12 million people who are undocumented? But, you know, go on with your bad self.
To some of the criminals.
Sharky, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Iranians only retaliated after getting bombed. You are absolutely correct.
That came into our country. Just about all of them, actually, if you look at it. They love sanctuary cities, which is a sanctuary.
No such thing as a sanctuary city, technically, because states and municipalities don't have the authority to enforce border policies, immigration law, naturalization law, etc. That is a power that's given to the federal government via Article 1, Section 8, and as such, it is not a power that the states get via the 10th Amendment.
For criminals, they want to make sure they're taken care of. That's what we're fighting about. That's really what they're fighting. They don't talk about that, but that's what they're fighting about. They want to protect criminals.
No, we want to protect American citizens and stop them from being shot, like Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy.
In many cases, 11,888 murders. Many of them, I will say, are gone now because of us. We got them out.
Again, I don't believe any word you say. I mean, I do know that you sent people to that, you know, concentration camp in El Salvador, but still.
But still have some left. Should have never happened, should have never been allowed to come into our country.
And I guess one of the people that y'all vetted murdered or tried to kill two of the National Guards people in D.C., and one of them died and one of them still alive, but still, y'all vetted him.
But we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let the Democrats get away with this stuff, and people are wise to them, so they need to end the shutdown.
People are wise to him. I need to look down like this to read the words that I'm looking at because I can't talk about what I want to talk about without constantly looking at the piece of paper. It's ridiculous.
Immediately, or we'll have to take some very drastic measures. This morning, I want to give an update on...
Tim, you murder a country's leaders and want a peace deal. I don't understand. And yeah, and they're like, we're not negotiating. He's like, of course they're negotiating. Why wouldn't they?
On the Operation Epic Fury, which is an appropriate name because we are absolutely obliterating them. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been...
Little Marco Rubioni. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, Rubioni. Anyway.
Hitting Iran's military capabilities at a level that few people have ever seen before.
Take a drink because no one's ever seen. Nobody's seen it. The reason you haven't seen things because you look directly into the sun during a fucking eclipse. Because you're a fucking moron.
People never knew there was such a capability. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world by far.
People didn't know that there was such a capability, but we have the strongest military. Everybody knew, dude. Everybody knew. Like, you hear that song on the way out when the show finishes. Not yet.
I built it during my first administration.
Rubio has huge, weird ears. Well, that's what Trump uses to keep hold of his face.
Oh, my.
And I used it during my second administration. Unfortunately, because I'd rather not have to use it. But it's a display of force and precision and skill like nothing the world has really witnessed, although you got a pretty good witnessing of it in Venezuela also.
No one's ever witnessed it. Remember shock and awe? We remember shock and awe, right? There's lots of things that we remember that have been done by our U.S. military. Lots of things. But, you know, he has to pretend like he's the first person to do anything.
That was
He probably thinks he's the first person to fuck Stormy Daniels too, but you know.
Smaller version of what we're doing now. We're crushing their missiles and drone stockpiles, destroying the defense industrial base.
He almost sounded like Alex Jones drunk right there.
We've wiped out their Navy completely, their Air Force completely. We've wiped out a large percentage of their missiles.
Then there's no reason to be over there. If you've knocked out everything, then why are we there? If everything's knocked out, why are we there? Because it's not. Not everything's not knocked out. And the reason we're there is so that you can benefit financially.
And the missile launchers.
Stockpiles, yes.
Without the launchers, you can't, the missiles don't do any good.
Without the launchers, the missiles don't do any good. A man who, and he's reading or wait, did he not read that particular thing?
No. We're crushing their missiles and drone stockpiles, destroying the defense industrial base. We've wiped out their Navy completely, their Air Force completely. We've wiped out a large percentage of their missiles. And the missile launchers, without the launchers, you can't, the missiles don't do any good.
See, notice, when he looks up away from the piece of paper that he's reading from, or whatever it is he's reading from, it's paper. When he looks up from it, his words start getting really, really bad. I have the best words. Nobody has better words. He looks down and reading from what somebody else wrote him. It's coming out like, it's still lies. It's still, bullshit. But it's still like, then he lifts his eyes from the paper and it just starts going to all unhinged. His tribble toupee needs a trim.
And
speaking of tribbles, did you hear that William Shatner, did you hear that he basically was, after Starfleet Academy was canceled for being too woke, he was like, I was involved in the first interracial kiss on national television. Star Trek has always been woke. I'm like, who the hell are you and what did you do with Bill Shatner? Anyway.
We've knocked out probably close to 90% of the launchers. Probably more than 90% of the missiles themselves, between some they fired and...
Jen, I hate to be a speechwriter because they can't write anything that sounds great because then everyone would be suspicious. They know that he can't read and that he can't speak. What they probably do is they probably take the words that they want to say and then paste it into ChatGPT and are like, can you reword this to make it sound like a third grader is saying these things? And that's what they probably do. Just take some bullet points, throw it into ChatGPT, say, make it sound like it's a third grader or younger saying these words, and then it spits out what they print out for old Donnie Boy.
More than they fired, we knocked out. We've also destroyed a lot of the factories. We're continuing to do that, but a lot of the factories where they manufacture the drones and the missiles. The drones too are way down, but the reason they're down is they go one way and they don't come back, because for the most part we're shooting them down. But
they go one way, they don't come back. All right.
We also are able to.
Don't be dissing third graders. My apologies to all the third graders out there who feel insulted about the fact that I just compared Donald Trump's reading or ability or speaking ability to y'all. My bad.
We've really done tremendous damage to the places where they make them.
Tremendous.
And just so we set the record straight, because I've been watching the Wall Street Journal's fake news and all these stories that get printed like, oh.
Wall Street Journal has always been like a conservative-leaning rag. I mean, if they're liberal now, holy shit.
I want to make a deal. They are begging to make a deal, not me. They're
bullshit.
Begging to make a deal.
Bullshit. Again, why do I know it's bullshit? Because your lips are moving.
And anybody that saw what was happening over there would understand why they want to make a deal. But they say, oh, we're not talking to them. Anybody would know they're talking. And only a total fool. And they're not fools. They're very smart, actually, in a certain way.
Only a total fool, but they're not fools. They're smart in a certain way. Like, again, he's not reading from the script. Every time he lifts his eyes from the script, it starts going off the cuff. All of the people are like, oh, go back to this piece of paper, Donald. Please go back to the piece of paper. Stop going off the cuff.
And they're great negotiators. I say they're lousy fighters, but they're great negotiators. They're
lousy fighters. That's like saying, I don't even know what that's like saying. It's like, you know, you sit there and you're saying that somebody's a lousy fighter because they can't stand up to the U.S. military. U.S. military, again, is the strongest military in the world and has been for a very long time and always will be for a very long time, well, unless you manage to drive it into the fucking dirt.
To work out a deal. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. I don't know if we're willing to do that. They should have done that.
He doesn't know if we're willing to do that now? Jesus Christ.
4 weeks
I'm sure that wasn't on the paper.
Ago. They should have done it 2 years ago. Well,
I'm waiting for one of them. I would love for one of them. I mean, they're not going to, but either Keg's Death or Rubio to be like, would you just shut the fuck up? Do the world a favor.
Or they should have done it when we first came into office, because 2 years ago they had free reign under Biden. Sleepy Joe, worst president in the history of our country.
Projection, projection, dun, 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 projection, projection, projection. Anyway.
He allowed to happen to our country at the borders.
If I was a shithead, yaddle deedle daddle. Hey, Teresa, good to see you.
And even with a thing like this, but not just him. Every president for 47 years, every president should have done this. They should have done it a long
For 47 years, every president for 40, you know, has to always tie it back to 47, right?
Long time ago, because you
probably waited for it to be 47 so he could use 47.
Cannot give.
Let's see. My daughter asked if she could be a paleontologist when she was 4. You got to go back further than 3rd grade to get to his IQ level. Nursery school, maybe. Yeah, but he's still reading it. He's still able to read it, shockingly enough, unless he's pretending to read it and funneling it into his ears. That could be what they're doing. They could be just playing it into his ears and just having him pretend to read it. There's always that.
Lunatics a nuclear weapon, and they would have had a big one.
The biggest like no one's ever seen.
Stopped really when we did the B-2, but even before that, the Barack Hussein Obama, what he did where he gave them the Iran nuclear deal, gave them free will toward a nuclear weapon.
There is a Liberal Dan U video on this particular subject, and if you go to liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel, and go check out the Liberal Dan U playlist, it is right there on that playlist. You can go check it out. No need to repeat what I said there.
Basically, he chose Iran over Israel and others that didn't want him to do it. But I terminated that.
I still have to say something. They were getting the money back already. He got something for the money coming back. See, I still had to say it. Spoiler alert.
Deal. Had I not terminated that deal, you would have had a nuclear weapon years ago, and it would have been used.
Jen, House theory is that there are only 3 words at a time on the teleprompter. Probably.
Guaranteed. And one of the reasons.
Hey, Kimchi, good to see you as well. You and Teresa, everybody, good to see y'all. Hey, David, nice to see you as well. JD, good to see you. Thank you all for joining the show.
You know about the guarantee is because their neighbors were sort of like bystanders. They weren't involved very much. They didn't choose heavy sides. They didn't want to because people were concerned.
What's up, Damon Dog? Good to see you too.
With Iran, there was a big black cloud over the Middle East. They were concerned, but all
and I don't like anything that's big and black. Right? I mean, that's what he would say probably.
All of a sudden, the war starts, and they start shooting at these 5, in particular, 5 countries. They start shooting at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Oman. They start shooting at them, and everybody was shocked, including us. You know why? Because they're sick.
Well, and Keg's death. I'm sorry, we're calling him Keg's death now. He's just like nodding, whatever, and he's probably thinking to himself, "I wish he would shut up. He's making my job so much harder."
And they had a plan to take over the Middle East, and some of those missiles that were shot at them were locked long before we even started this process. They were locked and loaded and aimed at those countries. They wanted to take over the Middle East, but we happened to come along, so it wasn't so easy.
We happened to come along, sure.
So right now their Navy is sunk in the largest elimination of a foreign...
Not my fault. It was Liberal Dan Radio's fault. He was the first in my algorithm.
Navy.
Sure, blame me.
That has taken place, maybe ever, but certainly since World War II. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft and communications capabilities are totally dismantled. And one of the problems they do have when they...
Their pigs are disgruntled.
Deal with us is we deal with people, and the people aren't able to communicate with anybody else. So, you know, because all of their leadership has been gone. The first level is gone, and they met to pick a new level, and they're gone.
Rubio doesn't even want to look at the cameras at this point. He's like, I'm just going to keep my eyes down and just ignore everybody's gaze until he stops talking.
They're all gone because they didn't make a deal, and because they're sick people. They're really sick. They're really sinister, sick people. And if anybody thinks it was okay to have a group of people like this to have nuclear capability, nuclear weapons, and if we didn't attack with the B-2...
Nobody wanted Iran to have nuclear capabilities, you dummy.
...bombers, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks of that, maybe...
Why would we believe that?
Maybe 4 weeks. But between 2 and 4 weeks, they were planning to have a nuclear weapon. If we didn't hit them at that time with the B-2 bombers, and one of the great air raids in history, maybe the greatest, dark at night, no moon, no light,
no moon. He got rid of the moon.
Single bomb hit its mark and just obliterated.
That's not true either. There are plenty of there are bombs that didn't hit its marks, and he was upset about that too. Apparently,
obliterated that place. So it's
that place. Does he not even remember what the place is called?
Buried deep under earth, and it was an amazing thing. But they would have
like no one's ever seen
have a nuclear, and they would have used it without question.
No mood on Monday. And the fire danced through the night. Right?
And you know that
because it's Blue Moon on Monday?
Why did they shoot all these countries that weren't even really involved with them? They weren't involved. They had no big problems. Because they're sick. Because they want to take over
projection.
The Middle East, not just Israel. Certainly Israel would have been the first on their list. They would have used nuclear weapons. A nuclear. You don't need too many of them.
First we got the bomb, and that was good, because we love peace and brotherhood. Shout out to Tom Lehrer.
But they would have used a nuclear weapon on Israel, and they would have used it on the neighbors.
I guess they would change the line, because the old line from the old song from Tom Lehrer is that Egypt's gonna get one too, just to use on you know who. So Israel's getting tense once when in self-defense. The Lord's our shepherd, says the psalm, but just in case, we better get a bomb. But it probably Iran at this case if Tom Lehrer were alive today and writing that song today. So
they would have come after us. And if we had a weak president, they would have done great damage.
We do have a weak president. The weakest like no one's ever seen.
But fortunately, you don't have a weak president. I knew what was happening. And I think we've been proven right. You know, they took one missile, went 2,500 miles. They supposedly didn't have a missile like that. They had no missile with that capability. But they shot the now famous Ireland, the island.
The Ireland.
That
I can't say words right.
The UK was very afraid to give us because they didn't want to get dragged in. But we don't want to get dragged into their wars either. You know, it's one thing we're very.
UK would be happy to get dragged into our wars because they're a member of NATO if somebody attacked us. But they're not going to. They're not necessarily going to help us when we go invade and attack other people. Do you not know how the whole NATO charter works? I guess not. I mean, silly me. Why would I think that he would know something?
Disappointed. I'll say it publicly. We're very disappointed with NATO because NATO has done absolutely nothing. And
again, they don't need to. That's not what they're for. They're not. NATO wasn't made to help us go after Iran.
Always said 25 years ago. I mean, I was somebody that wasn't a politician, but I was always involved in politics and I understood politics. I said 25 years ago that.
Yeah, the only time he understood politics is he said that he would, when he ran for president, he would run as a Republican because the voters are stupid.
NATO's a paper tiger, but more importantly, that we'll come to their rescue, but they will never come to ours.
They did on 9/11. Fuck you.
And I want you to remember that we said this. They didn't come to our rescue.
What rescue? There's no rescue here. We don't need rescue. We're the ones causing other people to die. And even including our own people. Our own people that died are because we're in this needless action. This needless military action. This needless engagement. The war.
Now they all want to help. When they're annihilated, the other side is annihilated. They said, we'd love to send ships. They actually made a statement, a couple of them, that we want to get involved when the war's over. No,
well, they want to get involved because they want to, don't want to be screwed over by your stupid policies. Because, you're ruining the world economy.
We're supposed to get involved with the war.
Otis George, Keg's death is looking like, I got sober for this? Like he's sitting there like, man, I wish I could have a shot right now.
Beginning, or even before it begins. We had the UK say that we'll send, this is 3 weeks ago, we'll send our aircraft carriers, which aren't the best aircraft carriers, by the way.
Ours are the best, no one has better, which is probably true. One of our aircraft carrier groups has like more firepower than the rest of the world's navies combined, and we have like 7 or 8, or I should say 6 or 7. So
they're toys compared to what we have. But we'll send our aircraft carrier when the war is over. I said, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Don't bother. We don't need it. And we don't need it. And we don't need them. We estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. And we're way ahead of schedule.
Are you now? Then why are we not gearing up? Why are we then talking about escalating things more?
If you look at...
Yes, MAGA von Schitz's pants. Yes, that is our name for him. Or at least you said BS von Schitz's, but it's MAGA von Schitz's pants.
What we've done in terms of the destruction of that country, I mean, we're way ahead. Think of it, they have no Navy, and they had good ships. 154 ships have been shot down and are resting.
Sunk?
Very nicely at the bottom of the sea. And we did that in a matter of less than a week. Because we have the greatest military in the world by far.
Let's skip ahead.
The same weapon we used to stop drugs from coming into the United States of America. When we hit those boats, it's the exact same weapon, extremely effective. We have
when we murdered those people who didn't have to be murdered and went back and took out the other 2.
Limited supplies. And
nobody's talking about that one. Remember those war crimes? I mean, I guess if you stack war crimes on top of war crimes, people forget the war crimes at the bottom, and you know, so they will keep having to do new ones, so people forget about the old ones. I guess, right? Yes, exactly, Otis George. We shot down ships.
Extremely effective.
Shot down, yeah.
But they have no more mine droppers. By the way, speaking of drugs, we're 98% down drugs coming in by water, by the ocean, by the sea.
Again, I have no reason to believe that statement as being anything close to being factual. And as we've talked about today, the ones they're probably sending it by land because they know that you don't have Border Patrol, as much Border Patrol on the borders because your Border Patrol is operating, you know, with ICE in cities like Minneapolis and New Orleans and other places like that.
98%. And we're trying to find out who are the 2% because we think they're the bravest men anywhere in the world.
Yes, he did use the term paper tiger earlier.
Maybe women. But whoever's on those boats is very brave or doesn't watch television. But where drugs coming in by sea, coming in by water, are 98%
water
down. And now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. The land is the easy one. You had to stop.
Well, then why did you do that first? Again, I don't believe you. They're probably finding different routes to get here. And, you know, they probably send a few to the routes that are known routes to make sure that you think you are catching everything, and then they're sending it the other way.
Stop the water. A lot of it came into the water. Now it's all pinched. And these people are trying to come in by land, and we will.
And we're going to have Paul Revere. We're going to go Operation Paul Revere. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea.
That's it. That's the easy one. But we had to take care of the water first. Nobody's coming.
Oh, Jesus, Jolie. I watched a video about the USS Gerald Ford today. Interesting fact, the toilets clog all the time due to a design failure, and every time they do, it's a $400,000 repair. That's some expensive shit.
Virtually nothing is coming in anymore. It was hundreds of millions of dollars a week were coming in by water.
Again, no reason to believe anything you say.
But they now have the chance, that is Iran, to permanently abandon their nuclear ambitions and to chart a new path forward. We'll see if they want to do it. If they don't, we're their worst nightmare.
There'll be hell to pay, and I know all about hell to pays. Look at my hair. It's hell.
In the meantime, we'll just keep blowing them away.
What's left to blow away? You already said we destroyed everything.
Unimpeded, unstopped. Well, there's not a thing they can do about it. They can't do anything about it, you know? I tell you, if they could, you'd be hearing about it.
I'm stopping on all the ants. And there's nothing they can do about it because we're going to keep stopping with the biggest feet in the world. except they think he bought shoes too big for other people, right?
You'd be hearing about it. You don't hear anything about it. They can't shoot our jets. We have the best military equipment
Like no one's ever seen
in the world. No, not even a contest. You see that with Venezuela. They had other equipment. They didn't have ours. It didn't work.
Or Willoughby, the price of fentanyl on the streets of my city, Savannah, Georgia, is down 67% in the last 14 months. Now, why would you suppose that the price of drugs would be down 67% in 14 months? I would say most likely is because the supply hasn't been. Either the supply is higher than it was, or there's less demand. Maybe they're getting, drugs from other ways. One of the two things are happening.
Didn't work. Think of it. We did the situation in Venezuela. It was a great military operation, getting a very, very dangerous man who's killed a lot of people, forced people into our country. Incredible. He emptied his prisons in Venezuela, emptied his prisons into our country, and I hope that charge will be brought at some point, because that was a big charge that hasn't been brought yet. It should be brought. He emptied his prisons into
How many times is he going to say brought?
our country.
Let's fast forward a little more.
Person so supreme, no longer with us. It's very sad.
Very
we have
sad.
to stop him from blowing up the world, blowing up the Middle East. Farmers.
Skipping again.
Never forget, we love the farmers. We gave them.
Yeah. You love the farmers so much that you used policies like, getting rid of USAID funding that helped pay farmers money to grow food for, the aid that we were giving across the world, and now they lost that money, and then they lost money because of tariffs, and then they had to pay more money because of tariffs. So, yeah, you love the farmers so much. With love like that, who needs hate?
$12 billion out of tariff money. We had a tremendous amount of tariff money come in.
And the amount of money, tariff money, whatever the tariff dollar is, because, again, we don't believe your numbers, but whatever the tariffs that are coming in, whatever portion you paid to them, they probably paid more going back out, so you haven't helped them much.
We continue to have, we've gone, as you know, the Supreme Court gave us a very unfortunate, foolish ruling, a ruling that gives the people that have ripped off our country for many years, gives them some money back.
You are pardoning people who ripped off our country, like a billionaire or whatever who ripped off, Americans. You have basically pardoned that person and then made it so that, or pardoned or commuted the sentence and basically made it so that he doesn't have to pay any more of the restitution to the people that he committed his crimes against. But don't talk about ripping off Americans, you dumb shit.
It's one of those things. It's a terrible, terrible, horrible mistake they made, but it's okay because we have another method that's just as good. We'll use the other method. But because the tariff money has been so substantial, we gave our farmers, who have been mistreated by some countries, we gave them
what?
$12 billion.
They've been mistreated by you.
And they're extremely happy, and they deserve. The others will speak. We'll have Marco say a few words. Pete Hegseth.
Options to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. You talk about people who walk into a crowded supermarket and have a vest on, and they blow up the vest and a couple of people get killed, and that's a terrible tragedy. What happens when what's on the vest is not something that can kill a couple of people, but can kill many, many tens of thousands of people? That is the most important American national security objective that exists for any administration at any time.
And by bombing them, and you're basically creating more radicals. By doing this action and just bombing people indiscriminately, all willy-nilly, you have created even more radicals, people who would be more willing to do that to us. So, thanks.
Is you don't want the worst people in the world to have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president is doing this. That's why.
Joseph, when he paid a French company billions for not building wind turbines, that's because he's obsessed with windmills.
A modern Don Quixote, he hates the windmills, claiming to protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them wild golfing on Scottish hills.
Why the president cares so much about.
I really have no desire to hear.
There are embassies. They're
Hold
attacking.
on. What?
I didn't like any of these.
What is it?
It's mochi, caramel apple.
Sure, why not? Let's give it to me. I'll hold on to it for right now. Anyway, back to the show.
Hotels. Imagine what these people would do if they had a nuclear weapon. That is an unacceptable risk for the world. By the way, the president's not just doing a favor to the United States and to our people. This is for the world. He defined very clearly on the first night of this operation what the goal was. We were going to destroy Iran's Navy, and that is happening. We were going to, if it hasn't already happened.
Why about that? That's happening. I thought it happened.
I'll let Pete speak to the specifics of it. We were going to destroy.
I'll let Pete peek to the specifics of it. Is that what he said?
Their missile launching capabilities. And we're well on our way.
It's hard to be, you know, somebody who lies that much. I mean, Trump has it down pretty pat of, you know, being a con artist for all of his life. So, little Marco's having issues, I guess, you know, being as much of a liar as his boss is.
To achieving that goal. We were going to destroy the factory so they couldn't make more missiles and more drones. And that is moving forward. Every single objective the president clearly laid out on the first night of this operation is being effectuated. Again, Pete will speak to the specifics of it. This has been an incredibly successful operation. Every day, it may not get covered because...
I mean, yeah, they successfully killed a whole bunch of people that, you know, but again, the idea that they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon is ridiculous. And even if they were, I mean, because they obliterated the nuclear facilities, you know, last June or whatever, right? So if they obliterated the nuclear facilities this June, you know, why they have to do it again? This is why even some former MAGA folks, I guess, are not believing the bullshit either.
As you know, we're unlike them. We're not bombing embassies and hotels. We're hitting military targets. But
and schools.
Every day, the Department of War lets the drummer get wicked over every portion of Iran that has these military capabilities. And the
wait, what? What did he just say? Lets the drummer get wicked?
This has been an incredibly successful operation. Every day, it may not get covered because, you know, we're unlike them. We're not bombing embassies and hotels. We're hitting military targets. But every day, the Department of War lets the drummer get wicked over every portion of Iran that has these military capabilities, and the results are going to bear fruit for the world. The world is going to be a safer and a better place when President Trump's mission here is achieved. And frankly, I think countries around the world, even those that are out there complaining about this a little bit, should actually be grateful that the United States has a president that's willing to confront a threat like this and not allow it to continue to persist. Because these people will kill.
Did he, let the drummer get wicked is a phrase rooted in hip-hop and funk culture, meaning to give the drummer the spotlight to play an intense, fast, or technically impressive drum solo. Yeah. Who wrote that for you, Marco? I mean, you're not Ari Melber.
As many Americans as they have a chance to do, and if they have a nuclear weapon, as the Vice President pointed out, they could kill millions of Americans in the future, and that is a risk that was not going to continue to exist as long as we had this president.
Thank you, Marco. You know, it's very interesting because yesterday I was watching, is it Anthony Blinken, and he was saying that they should have done it, but they didn't do it. Nobody did it. Nobody did it. For 47 years, Marco, that's the number, 47. I guess now it's 48, because we've been saying 47 for a long time. It's probably 48. But for 47
I don't like that it's 48. I like it 47. It's the best number. No one has a better number.
Every president should have done this. And some are saying now that they made a big mistake in not doing it, but we're taking care of business. Steve Woodcock, please.
Would you cough? He would cough, but he's not going to because he took a lozenge before talking. Sorry.
Mr. President, it is my distinct honor.
I already said the schools, didn't I?
To report to you and your team on our negotiations with Iran. Mr. President, you directed Jared and I to pursue a diplomatic resolution with Iran prior to Operation Epic Fury, which we did. However, it became quite...
Jeff says Neil Peart in his cabinet. Neil Peart's dead, unfortunately.
clear during these meetings with the Iranian negotiating team that we could not make a deal that fulfilled your objectives of the following: no enrichment whatsoever, no chance of weaponizing whatsoever, decommissioning of Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, which you destroyed in Operation Midnight Hammer, no stockpiling of any material, which they flagrantly violated.
His audio is really, I can't handle it. I can't handle the background noise from the audio.
Days ago, Iran had a modern military. Never in recorded history has a nation's military been so quickly and effectively neutralized. Operation Epic Fury is not...
I mean, I guess the moment we dropped 2 nukes on Japan.
Not an endless war. It's a decisive campaign.
Operation Midnight Hammock.
campaign with clear objectives to destroy.
Is that opposed to Operation Banana Hammock?
Iran's offensive military capabilities and ensure they never obtain a nuclear weapon. This is stuff for the history books. This is stuff for legacy. Mr. President, you are acting now to ensure future generations do not have to live under the threat of a nuclear arm.
This is stuff for textbooks, and this is stuff for textbooks that, you know, we're going to write because we're going to manipulate and propagandize the textbook, right?
Iran. However, you wouldn't know it if you listened to the dishonest hate Trump media, as you referenced. The folks here in the room, these cameras, they have a choice. You're either informing the American people of the truth or you're not. Because I hear it from my people every day.
Rock-a-bye Donald on the treetop. His haircut makes him look like a mop. I mean, yeah, he is Sleepy Don. I mean, Dreamtime Don. I mean, I guess Sleepy Joe was, you know, didn't use the same letters, whatever, but still, he has the nerve to call people Sleepy Joe when he's fucking sitting there with his eyes closed, about to fall asleep.
Behind every headline you write,
what's up, human FB? Good to see you.
There's a helicopter crew in the air. And behind every news banner you write, there's a battalion on the move. And
we need to report the news properly and accurately to make sure that those people have, you know, are protected by the media to make sure that you're not misusing these troops. We already are misusing these troops, but, you know, still.
Every fake news story, there's an F-35 pilot executing a dangerous mission. My message to the media is get it right.
I agree with you on that one. Yes, the media should get it right, but unfortunately they don't get it right. They more get it right in your favor, or they get it wrong in your favor instead of getting it right in the favor of the American people.
This actually isn't something new to me. I may be a young guy, Mr. President, but I'm not a rookie in this realm. In 2007, I helped lead the surge, the public fight for the Iraq surge.
Again, I don't believe that. I mean, maybe it might be true, but again, y'all lie so much that I can't believe anything that you say.
And watched people stand in the Senate and declare the war is lost before it even started. Who was that? It was Harry Reid. That was the Democrats and the media working hand in glove. Back then, it was 3 years into a war. Now we're 3 weeks into an operation. But see,
well, the war that should have never happened because the 16 words were a lie.
Unlike Iraq, this isn't a tie.
He means get it right, not get it correct. Right as in not left. Good point, Christine.
This is not parody. This is not chaos. This is success. Pure American success.
Unturned stone. Why should I help Trump or Pete Hegseth? Nobody should.
On plan, and as the president said, ahead of pace. Over 10,000 enemy targets destroyed, over 140, I think now you're...
But again, you're still talking about escalation, which means that you're not actually doing as well as you think you are. If you have to escalate, and you are failing somehow, right?
You're right, Mr. President, over 150 naval vessels.
Distant galaxy. Pete the Drunk still has a job. I guess kills the right people, I guess.
Vessels sunk, underground facilities destroyed, their defense industrial base in shambles, and overnight, not only do they not have a Navy, Mr. President, they no longer have a Navy commander. IRGC's Navy commander was killed overnight in operation. So no Navy.
I thought it was Israel that did that, not us.
No Navy leader. Now that here's the thing about the media, though. If President Trump had not acted, you'd be screaming, why not? And now that he has taken decisive action, you're asking, well, why did you? It's the same old tired playbook, TDS in your DNA. But the hardworking, God-fearing, patriotic Americans out there know.
The only TDS is still supporting, the only derangement is still supporting this idiot.
Better.
Yeah, why do they keep attacking the media? Classic sign of failure. The reason they keep attacking the media is because they know their history. That's how Adolf Hitler came to power. And he called the media the Lügen Press, the lying press. And Donald Trump, ever since 2016, has been always fake news, just to basically make sure that people who are his supporters will be like, oh, well, Trump said that they're fake, and now they're speaking, so everything they're saying must be fake, right? So
you alluded to this, President Obama, Mr. President. Here's a fact that you don't hear on your networks that we know. Many of the Iranian military factories and bases that we're systematically destroying were paid for by the pallets of American cash that Barack
was not American cash. That's a lie. They wouldn't report that because the cash that was given to them was their cash that they were going to get back anyway. Again, watch my liberal Dan Yu video on this.
Obama flew into Tehran under the Iran deal. You might call it an inconvenient truth. Iran took our money and turned it into weapons and bunkers and ammo. And now we're destroying.
Has an American Secretary of Defense ever been so chatty? Rumsfeld, maybe? I mean, Rumsfeld liked to talk a lot, didn't he? There are known knowns, and there are unknown knowns, and then there are known unknowns, then there are unknown unknowns.
Those weapons, and you're writing, Mr. President, that grievous wrong. And make no mistake, we had to act. And our objectives are clear. No nukes, no Navy, and a complete dismantling of their missile program and defense.
Heavy drinking Pete Hegseth is America's, quote, badge of honor. Yeah, exactly.
Base. And as Marco pointed out, that mission, and the VP as well, has not changed since day one.
Except they said no regime change, and now they want regime change. And all the other stuff that they lie about that has come back and, did a whole 180.
Yet, 2 days ago, they shot 2 failed missiles on a target 4,000 kilometers away.
I thought you destroyed all their missile launching capabilities.
For years, they told the world that their missiles could only range 2 kilometers.
Range or reach?
Surprise. Yet again, Iran lied. And to the world.
Yeah, I know. Not only do I know this feeling of wanting to fall asleep, I know the looking up in the sky feeling too. That's like, oh, I'm trying to fight going to sleep, but I'm too sleepy.
I say London is 4,000 kilometers from Iran. Washington, D.C. is 3,300 kilometers from Venezuela, another country. President Trump did something.
What did Venezuela have similar type missiles too? I mean, what the fuck?
About that partnered for a long time with Iran. So you're telling
Rockabye Donald
us that Iran is not a threat to the world or to the U.S. President Trump knows better. And here's what success actually looks like right now. You mentioned it, Mr. President. A-10 Warthogs, if you know them, you love them, and Apache helicopter gunships are flying strike missions inside Iranian airspace and throughout the Strait of Hormuz at will. See,
who's Will? I mean, what did Will is Will the new supreme commander? Is that the new Ayatollah? Is it Ayatollah Will something? Is that why they're firing at Will?
Only send these slow, low-flying, close air support.
Yeah, Trump's bored because he's not the one talking, so therefore he's going to nod off because he doesn't like having other people getting the spotlight. I mean, unless they're kissing his ass. If they're kissing his ass, he'll stay up. But if they're just talking, fake numbers, he's just gonna doze off.
When the enemy has no meaningful air defenses left,
and they don't. If they have no air defenses left that are meaningful, then why do you need to run the ad? Why do you need to run strafing runs or whatever on them? Right? Again, you don't make any fucking sense. But all the bloodthirsty MAGA fools are going to eat it all up.
Presence is proof that Iran's air defenses are gone. Their command and control is shattered, their top leaders hiding in underground bunkers, while their mid-level commanders are being crushed in the field.
Christine, I played Call of Duty. I know this shit.
The morale of their fighters plummeting. We see
all right, let's skip a
safe city. The troops down there. Memphis, Tennessee, I just got back. We were there. Crime is down 75%.
More lies. I want to get to the media questions. Let's skip ahead to the media questions.
And because wiped out preservationists. But you know who they didn't sue? The man.
Hold on, let's see.
We're going to make it gorgeous and safe. We're fixing new windows, new this, but just all fix them. I got sued by preservationists. But you know who they didn't sue? The man that took this beautiful Federal Reserve building. That's
oh, Jesus, he's on that crap still?
Taking ceilings that are...
He's still talking about the Federal Reserve building?
When Jeanine Pirro and Pam in the group, when they bring us suit, it's like, oh, this terrible thing. And then we have a judge that attacks us.
Oh, no, they attack you.
$25 million. I would, if I did it, it was up to... Somebody else would have done it for more. So maybe 50. But you could have done that building if it was...
Yeah, this email, this meeting, this cabinet meeting could have been an email.
And there's no ink in the pen, and it costs $1,000. This one, I called the guy. I said, I'd like to use your pen, but I can't have a gray thing with a big S on it saying Sharpie. As I'm signing a $1 trillion airplane contract to buy brand new fighter jets, brand new B-2 bombers, of which we just ordered plenty.
And I don't like calling them bombers because it sounds too much like Barack Obama.
I can't do that with the press. Use your pen, but I like the pen the best. But I'll sign it. I could do like Biden did, you know, give it to somebody else to sign, or an auto pen, or maybe sign it separately in another.
There's nothing wrong with using the fucking auto pen, dumbass.
But I can't use your pen. He said, well, I can make it nicer. I said, what can you do? He said, I'll paint it black. I said, that's
He probably wants to sign it with crayons. That's what he's used to using.
nice. And I could even paint the White House on it.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point Trump is going to get caught on audio calling our troops that got killed recently suckers and losers. Probably. I mean, he already called the other one suckers and losers, so why would he do it here? That's what I'm saying. Why would anybody sign up for the military when they know that Donald Trump believes that you're just a bunch of suckers and losers? So,
Sir, if you like. In gold. Almost real gold. Not bad.
so fake gold, right? Because we all know that you're the pyrite president. It's the pyrite era of America.
And I can even do your signature, sir. And by the way, this was not staged. I just saw the pen sitting there, and I thought that this is an example.
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Patty, also thank you, NNY777. Again, I think we brought that up earlier.
Example of how $25 million spent by me at the Federal Reserve Building would be a better job than $4 billion.
He's back on the Federal Reserve Building again, and he's still holding the pen.
And these were $1,000 pens.
Oh my God! How long can you talk about a fucking pen? Shut up about the pen.
Behind me. I give out 40 pens to people. Then
warriors are prosecuting, but on the other side, they are trying to take control of the.
What is this guy talking? How did this guy get that voice like that? These warriors are prosecuting this war on the other side, and blah blah blah.
Global economy through a choke point that we believe does not exist, and that we will.
It's through a choke point that our global people don't believe it exists. Blah 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 blah.
Will overcome.
Distant Galaxy. I read that his heart attack of a signature will be soon unavailable. Yes, talked about that earlier in the show.
The historic Operation Epic Fury seized a generational opportunity to demolish a regime that is coordinated over.
And I'm going to kiss your ass some more. Let's continue talking and kissing your ass about this, yada, yada, yada. Oh boy, text POTUS to 45470 for updates from the White House. No, thank you.
That's beautiful. Great job.
Dan does a good best. Thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that I can do a good imitation of somebody that I'd never really heard speak before.
That's really good. No, he's done a great job.
Thank you. Donald Trump admits that I do a great job of my imitation of Bassett, too.
You all have, proud of you all. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Mr. President, are you going to go in for the uranium? Like, how do you secure Iran? And
let's assume I was or I wasn't. Why would I ever answer a question?
Can you accomplish
what kind of a question? Am I going to go in for the... Oh, yeah, I'm going in. We're going in tomorrow at 3 o'clock. How could you possibly ask a question like that and expect an answer? I don't know. But
how can you ask?
I think you're a friendly person.
How can you ask Donald Trump a question and expect him to give an honest answer about anything, right?
It's just such a ridiculous question.
Mr. President,
please.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been a report that potentially the U.S. is looking at diverting some munitions, air defenses that were meant for Ukraine to the Middle East. Is there any accuracy to that? Is that something you're considering?
Well, I'd have to ask me, but we do that all the time. You know, we have tremendous amounts of ammunition. We have them in other.
We have so much like no one's ever seen.
Countries like in Germany and all over Europe, we have, you know, we're packed. And sometimes we take from one and we use for another. We helped Ukraine. Biden started and he gave 350.
Biden started. No, Putin started it, you dumb shit.
$1 billion away. Too much, way too much. And we sell it now to NATO. We sell it to NATO and they probably give it to Ukraine mostly, I think.
And I take a cut and I put my name on every bullet because my name's on everything.
They give it to Ukraine, but we get paid for everything that we give. We don't give anything anymore. It's a tough situation, that whole Ukraine situation, very, very tough. We're working very hard on getting that one solved.
I thought it'd be solved on day one, you dummy. Didn't you say day one? Didn't you? That's what I recall.
It doesn't have any impact on us, virtually nothing. In fact, if
exactly, Christine. Biden put people to work making more ammo. Yep, he put Americans to work.
Anything, I mean, we sell a lot of equipment for that unfortunate war. 25,000 people died last month. 25,000, so mostly soldiers. Some in the towns, but...
Impeccable living. Sorry, gang, I have something gay to do. Hope y'all have a lovely night. Well, go have fun doing your stuff that you like to do.
Oh my.
Had to put that in there, obviously, because that's the sound we play for you a lot and for other things too, but still.
For the most part, soldiers, they're dying.
Don't be a stranger, Impeccable Living.
Nobody's seen anything like it since World War II.
Like no one's ever seen.
It's a terrible situation, and hopefully that's going to get settled. You know, I settled 8 wars, and many of them I think were more difficult than this one. In theory, they were more difficult, but there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. Tremendous hatred.
I wonder why Zelensky doesn't like Putin.
I've seen it before, but I've never seen it maybe to this extent. And I think that's calming down a little bit, and I think we have a chance of getting it done. But it doesn't affect us thousands of miles away. That's why when I heard the head of Germany say, this is not our war about Iran, I said, well, Ukraine's not our war. We helped, but Ukraine's not our war. I thought it was...
We agreed when we basically had Ukraine, when they split from the USSR, and that we told them, hey, when the USSR broke up and they had a whole big stockpile of nukes, we had promised them that we would not allow Russia to get froggy, and if they ever did get froggy, that we would come to their defense. And the reason we did that was because we wanted Ukraine to get rid of their nukes. So we did that. We made a promise, and now you don't like to keep the promises that we made. So that's why that happened. So completely, you know, we absolutely 100% should have helped Ukraine because we promised to help Ukraine.
It was a very inappropriate statement to make, but he made it. You can't erase it. But he felt that way. I said, well, you know, Ukraine's not our war.
I mean, you said that you would end the Ukraine war on day one, and that hasn't happened. You can't erase that comment either, there, Donnie boy. It's out in the ether.
And it's not, but I would like to see all those young people stop being killed. I mean, they're being killed. It's like a slaughter.
Especially the women, because I love the young women.
What's happening there is horrible.
I might get my next wife from over there because Melania is getting too old for me.
25,000 on average. Last 2 months ago was 31,000 people died in 1 month, Marco, right? I said, it's getting crazy. It's getting worse. Think of it, 31,000 soldiers, both Russian and Ukraine, died 2 months ago. 25,000 last month. And
it's dangerous when my kids bring me snacks because Cassie didn't like it, and that's actually pretty darn good. I wasn't expecting to be as good as it is.
I can solve that. It would be a great honor to do it. I wish it could have gone faster. I solved other ones in one day.
Wish it could have gone faster. According to Stormy Daniels, maybe you should have had sex with it, and then it would have been over pretty quickly.
Oh my.
But you might not have gotten much penetration.
That had been going for 32 years. We stopped one that was starting. It was already started. India and Pakistan.
We stopped one that was already started, but stopped. But it really wasn't happening, but it was. We're going to make things up now.
And the Prime Minister of Pakistan, a very fine gentleman, said President Trump solved something that was going to cost 10 million lives. That was going to cost.
Joy to farm. I don't think I could hate someone any more than I do this jerk. I mean, pretty much. It's up there. I mean, he's definitely top 5 hateful people, probably number 1.
A lot of lies.
Oh, but I have TDS if I say that. 2
nuclear nations. And those were complicated, but we got them done quickly.
All right, let's go next.
It hasn't, I mean, we...
Drivers, Lyft drivers, cab drivers, for someone who takes a lot of Ubers, a lot of my drivers.
Oh, well, that's not good. I didn't like that. Go ahead, John.
So that's a really good point. The problem is that our states are the ones that issue these licenses. So with commercial driver's licenses, we do have some federal control. But again, we have thousands
Let's see what the question was again. Let's kind of rewind a smidge.
17,000 truckers off the road that quite frankly could not speak English, which is a safety issue.
Yeah.
Could we ever extend that to Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, cab drivers, for someone who takes a lot of Ubers?
Well, cab drivers use a chauffeur's type license. At least in Louisiana, Uber and Lyft drivers only need your personal license, so you would have to do a whole lot more than that to try and get the people who are Uber and Lyft drivers and or not be able to drive for Uber and Lyft.
A lot of my drivers can't.
Oh, well, that's not good. I didn't like that. Go ahead, John.
So that's a really good point. The problem is that our states are the ones that issue these licenses.
So let's federalize it. That's going to be let's the states do the things that the states are supposed to do, and then he's going to be like, let's federalize it. Let's make a national driver's license rule on who can drive in this country.
So with commercial driver's licenses, we do have some federal control. But again, we have thousands of people who can't speak the language, long-standing rule.
There are plenty of MAGA idiots who can't speak the language.
And it's a safety issue, right? If you can't understand road signs, if you can't communicate.
If you can't understand road signs, I mean, people can understand numbers. Get off this exit number. People can understand, what stop signs mean, what yield signs means, what red, green, and yellow lights mean. And then when you have, if you need, you have apps that will talk to you in your own language that will tell you. The idea that, not having somebody who isn't a Native American, somebody who isn't natively American, somebody who isn't here, somebody who doesn't have English as a first language, the idea that if, their lack of ability to speak English is going to make them an unsafe driver, there are plenty of drivers who are unsafe, and language has nothing to do with the reason why. You're just using it as a reason why because you're a bunch of bigots.
With law enforcement when you're pulled over and communicate what's on your rig, huge problem. But the last administration, Mr. President, they let truck driving schools self-certify that they were qualified to train truck drivers. And so this is like the Leering Center. So you pay $800 and you get a certificate that you passed a CDL driving school, and again, they have no skills. They don't have the knowledge, and they don't have the skills. They haven't gone through any of the testing. And then they get licenses, and they're killing Americans on our roads. So it's remarkable, the rot that the last administration allowed to take place. We are ending that, and I need partnership with our states. Even California started to come on board. Even Gavin has started to play ball with us, which is surprising. Not all the way, a little bit of ball.
Mr. President,
It's interesting because I just saw something that the nursing home business and the daycare centers in particular, they went out and inspected them in Minnesota, and they didn't exist.
Oh, Jesus, this lie again.
8 boats of oil, 8 boats, 8 big boats of oil. They said to show you the fact that we're real and solid and we're there. We're going to let you have 8 boats of oil. 8 boats. 8 big boats of oil.
8 boats of oil. But it was only 1 boat of oil, but it lasted for 8 boats. It's the miracle of Hanukkah all over again. Sorry. I had a little dreidel. I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, the dreidel I shall play.
This was 2 days ago. And they'll sail up tomorrow. That was 3.
Bald Thanos, Dan, you'd be surprised how many white American truckers don't speak correct English. Oh, I wouldn't.
3 days ago. And I didn't think much.
Exactly, Joy. Hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. They want to cut regulations, unless they can be bigots with the regulations. Then they will put in all the regulations they want to help them be bigots.
About it. And then I watched the news, and they said, a very good anchor, actually, happened to be Fox, but I watched it, and he said, something's unusual happening. There are 8 boats that are going right up the middle of the Hormuz Strait. 8 big tankers are going loaded up with oil right through. And I said, well, I guess they were right, and they were real. And I think they were Pakistan.
And we put Trump on the side of the boats, and they said, this is Trump's oil, and I let him through, because anything with my name on it is good.
He flagged.
Let's skip ahead again.
Look, and they're talented. Attorney general's a dirty says, and says,
All I can tell you is they're begging to make a deal. So let's see what happens. We may make a deal. Tell me about mail-in ballots. Go ahead. You mean I used a mail-in ballot? You probably said, yeah, I did. You know what? Because I'm president of the United States.
Why did you use it? Because I'm president and I can violate my own self if I want to. It's fraudulent except for when I do it. Like, again, we talked about this, the other day. We were going to make a hypocrite week on one thing, but now it became hypocrite week on the other thing. But, again, Donald frickin' Trump, if you're a leader, you should be setting the example. That's how you lead, by setting the example of what other people should do. If you think mail-in voting is a fraud, if you think mail-in voting is problematic, then you shouldn't be participating in mail-in voting.
And because of the fact that I'm president of the United States, I did a mail-in ballot for elections.
I'm a fancy man, goddammit, and I should be able to do things that I don't want other Americans doing because I'm fancy.
It took place in Florida because I felt I should be here instead of being in the beautiful sunshine taking...
You should go down to the beautiful sunshine. We would like you there than in D.C.
In Palm Beach, sir, the last few weekends.
That's right. And I decided that I was going to vote by mail-in ballot because I couldn't be there because I had a lot of different things. But, we have exceptions for mail-in ballots. You do know that, right? So if you're...
Exceptions? But wouldn't those exceptions be rife with fraud if mail-in voting was so fraudulent?
We have an exception. If you're in the military, we have an exception. If you're
a Republican, if you're a Republican wearing a red MAGA hat, you have an exception. But if you're a Democrat, no exceptions for you.
If you're disabled, we have an exception. And if you're ill, if you're not feeling good, whatever. So how
do you know you're not going to feel well? But again, here's the thing. If you make so many exceptions, you start violating the whole idea of equal protection under the law. So I have no problem with, people mail-in voting. So, but again, you shouldn't be for some people. It should be made available for everybody. And some people are going to vote early, and some people are going to vote by mail, and some people are going to vote in person on Election Day. And that should be made a holiday, and we should make sure that everybody who can legally vote should be able to do so. And there's no evidence that there's rampant voted fraud anyway. So the idea that you're doing this, again, for reasons other than what you're saying. So, yeah, exactly, Christine. Great minds. Brilliant minds think alike.
Mostly in Washington, D.C., so I used a mail-in ballot. But I appreciate the question because I know it was so well-meaning. Yeah.
Mr. President, I actually just looked up the company that owns Sharpie, and they stock turned positive after you mentioned it.
By the way, they deserve it.
Yeah,
it's a good product.
So you gave a 5-day deadline. With oil tankers going through the Strait of Hormuz, is that a condition to move that 5-day deadline?
Well, we don't want anything impeded. We want ships to go through. We don't know that they've dropped any mines, by the way, because we blew up all their mine droppers, right? We blew up every one of them.
They dropped mines, they dropped yours, they dropped everyone's. Right? Is that what they mean? I don't know. I'm stupid.
Travelers at
Oh crap, I just rewound way too far.
They didn't exist. They're knocking into it. Happens to be a young man.
Thank you, Willoughby. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Thank you for the well wishes for Cassie as well.
Nick, nice young man. He's done a very good job. They're knocking on doors. It's like homes. And they're getting hundreds of thousands of that. They didn't exist. And in California, it's worse. It's even worse. And I spoke with Russell, vote. I said, Russell, don't...
Russell, we call him Russell the Love Muscle.
Send him any money. He said, but we have a court order that we have to. Can you believe it? A judge. The judges are really hurting this country. Our judges...
It's the judges. Yeah, the judges who are trying to stop you from doing things that are unconstitutional. They're the problem.
Justice Roberts doesn't like when I say it. But the judges are really hurting this country. And frankly, the justices, the Supreme Court, has really hurt our country too.
Mr. President, do you have a new deadline, given that there are some talks now? Do you have a new deadline before taking?
No, I'll announce it. I mean, right now, you're talking about a deadline for doing some pretty big damage, even bigger than we've done. We'll see. Look, we have very substantial talks going on with respect to Iran, with the right people.
The right people. The right people aren't actually people in charge. It's some schmo that he's talking to that's probably some guy that they've set up. Like probably Pete Hegseth was probably like, here, let's get this guy and we're going to pretend that he's the leader and Trump is going to pretend to think that he's negotiating with him or whatever. But in reality, it's the bombs that we do our negotiations, as Hegseth said, or Keg's breath or Keg's death or whatever we want to call him these days.
You know, I told you about a present, right? Steve, can I reveal the present?
You can do anything you want, sir.
Yeah, look, who's going to tell him no?
They said to show you the fact that we're real and solid and we're there.
Oh, we already talked about that part. It's the eight things.
Encouraging some vessels to go through.
Oh, yeah. Well, should they be able to? I mean, they shouldn't be able to, but they're doing it a little bit. I don't know. Look, their capability is a lot less than it was 2 weeks ago. And with every week and every day, frankly, it gets less and less.
Yeah, exactly, Damon Dog. Supreme Court has done a lot of damage. Citizens United, abortion immunity, voting rights, etc. Exactly.
I can tell you is they're begging to make a deal. So let's see what happens. We may make a deal. Tell me about mail-in ballots. Go ahead.
We already covered that.
You mean graded their coastal defense capabilities and their naval
impetus to say, well, I wish you didn't say that, but they said yesterday that we weren't negotiating with them, and now they admit that we were negotiating with them. So they want to make a deal. The reason they want to make a deal is they have been just beat to shit.
And I heard that part earlier today. I was like, wow, he's just, cursing. Can you imagine if President Biden had said that somebody was beat to shit?
Oil?
It's an option. I mean, I wouldn't talk about it, but it's an option.
Is that something you thought about?
Well, in Venezuela,
he talked about it in the 2016 campaign that he wanted to go over there, blow up the terrorists, and then seize the oil. That's what he said he would do in 2016. Nobody remembers this bullshit. I mean, Big Hook says I have an eidetic memory, but everybody should be remembering that campaign promise that he made on the debate stage. Go over there, bomb the terrorists, and take the oil over there. It's exactly what he said. Then he also said to kill the families of the terrorists too. Even if those people didn't do anything wrong, he wants to kill them too. Because he's a bloodthirsty schmuck and all he cares about is profits.
Very well working with Venezuela, certainly. And we've taken in billions and billions of dollars. And by the way, Venezuela is doing better right now than they've ever done in the history of their country.
Like no one's ever seen.
And sort of like a joint venture. But the United States has made a lot of money, Marco, right? With it. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
About Venezuela?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Venezuela in the first 2 months of this year generated more revenue from oil sales than they had most of all of last year. But the money's not being stolen anymore. And it's being held in a U.S. Treasury blocked account. And to the extent it's flowing to the Venezuelan government, it's going to help people, like fund hospitals, pay teachers. It's not
and we
being
get
stolen.
a lot of it.
And he's like, but we take a bunch of it.
Think of it. We get a lot of it. We have a deal. We get a lot of it.
Marco's like, I didn't want to talk about that part, but I guess you have to talk about it.
We had 100 million, think of this, 100 million barrels we took in the first 2 weeks. 100 million barrels. That's a lot of oil. It's a lot of ships. And we got some and they got some. We paid for the ships.
One for you, one for me. One for you, two for me.
A lot of money left over. And Venezuela has done better now with us. Call it a partner, call it whatever you want. We've made a lot of money, and they've made a lot of money. In all fairness, they could have, I can't say what we're going to do, because if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here for long. They'd probably, what is it called, the 25th Amendment?
Let's go back.
I can't say what we're going to do, because if and it would be nice if, like the fake news New York Times, which writes so fake, and the Wall Street Journal is terrible, terrible. I mean, I read a story today that I'm desperate to make a deal. If I was desperate, he'd be the first to know. Pete, let's get the hell out of there. I'm the opposite of desperate.
I'm bloodthirsty. I want to kill more people. That's what I want to do.
I don't care. I want to know. In fact, we have other targets we want to hit before we leave. We're hitting them on a daily basis.
I thought but if you took out all the things you need to take out, then you shouldn't have any targets left, because that's why we know you're lying.
No, I don't talk about you. I can't talk about specifics. A lot of people said that wouldn't matter. Maybe it does matter. Who knows? But I wouldn't talk. It's like the question this young lady asked. Sorry about I embarrassed her. I don't want to embarrass you because I think I think she's a friendly reporter, so I'm sorry. But I can't say what we're going to do, because if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here for long. They'd probably, what is it called, the 25th Amendment? They'd institute the 25th Amendment, which
somebody should.
Which they didn't do with Biden, which is shocking.
Safe enough to leave the region, because Steve said that they've got enough uranium to make 11 bombs. That's a very scary thing. So
well, again, I can't talk to you about that. You're asking me a question. You're essentially saying, will I go in and...
I mean, are you going to justify the war if you're saying that they have enough nuclear material for those amount of bombs? I mean, why wouldn't you say that? And now you might say it after the fact, but then why would we believe you? Why would we believe it when you say it now either? Again, you've lied so many times that we can't believe anything you fucking say.
Do something. I can't talk to you about that.
Mr. President, we're looking at a coalition of ships to help, warships to help protect tankers. How close are you to getting that coalition?
Well, we have a coalition for them, but they should have been up here a long time ago. And they're...
What?
Affected. The amazing thing is we don't need the Hormuz Strait. We don't need it. We don't need it at all. We have so much oil. Our country is not affected by this. We have more...
This is the part that... I did want to make sure to talk about. This particular part right here is what I wanted to talk about. Because he's saying, we don't need the Strait of Hormuz because we have enough oil here. This motherfucking idiot doesn't understand that oil is a global commodity. Whatever we make here, the price of that oil, regardless of where it's made, is going to be affected by the overall supply of oil globally. So we absolutely are affected here. If we actually drilled enough to make sure that we had enough oil, that we didn't need any oil from other places, we still would be paying higher prices for that oil. Because if we didn't, those companies wouldn't want to sell it here. They'd want to sell it across the seas where they were charging more for it. But he's too stupid to understand this crap. A lot of good Wharton did him, right?
We have twice the amount of oil as Saudi Arabia or Russia, and soon it'll be 3 times the amount. Chris, do you want to speak to that for a second?
And that's correct. Our total oil production is greater than Saudi Arabia's plus Russia, and more than we consume in the United States. So we're the largest.
Pretty good.
But again, it's a global market, and our prices of oil are going to be affected by what happens globally to the global oil market.
You know what they call it? Drill, baby, drill.
Mr. President,
Anything else you want to say?
Well, and same thing for natural gas. We wait before.
Again, another global market that's going to mean that if whatever the price is globally is what we're going to pay.
For your first term, we were the largest exporter of natural gas in the
I know, Bald Panos.
world. Today, we're just by far the largest. I mean, we're the largest importer. Now we're by far the largest exporter, and it's growing rapidly this year. New facilities are coming online. New production's ramping up.
We're doing an amazing job. We get a lot of help from that man right over there. He's getting approvals done quickly and very environmental. He's an environmentalist, actually. He does a great job, but he gives you a fast approval or rejection. Do you have anything to say?
Well, back on Venezuela, where Chris and I have both had a chance to be there, I literally think they're going to put a statue to President Trump. And
Of course they are. Of course they'll put a statue to President Trump because they want to kiss his ass to make sure he doesn't fuck with them again.
It's not a political statement, it's an
I
actual
hope
thing.
so. That would be a great honor.
No, because it's like they view President Trump like Simon Bolivar. He's the liberator of a country, and this is a country where they love American baseball. You look on the street, they're wearing NBA jerseys, and Delcy and her team working with us, getting back. Chris and I both experienced it was the first time in Venezuelan history that they had the free press allowed to come on to essentially where the White House, the Palacio Miraflores, and it was an emotional thing for people that had been for 20 years had never.
Now, we don't let our press into our Pentagon, mind you, unless they sign, their rights away to be able to talk about whatever it is they need to talk about. But, you know, Venezuela got freedom. We don't. And I'm sure it's freedom with an asterisk. Some exceptions may apply.
Had a chance to be there. So whether it's and then production, it's showing up in production. The American companies that are coming back, most of those American companies have many American Venezuelan team members. One company in Houston's got 600 Venezuelan Americans that know more about reviving that industry. So their GDP went.
All right, let's fast forward again.
This was, look, we already won. We don't need them anymore.
We already won.
It doesn't make sense. And you can, they made a big mistake.
Mr. President, is the Friday deadline for Iran, is that pushed back now, or, and if not?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Mr. Witkoff and JD and Jared will tell me whether or not they think it's going along. And if it's not going along, maybe not. And we have a lot of time. You know what? It's a day. In Trump time, a day, you know what it is? That's an eternity.
That might very well be the first truthful thing he's ever said ever in his goddamn life. I mean, seriously, that may very well be the first truthful thing he's ever said ever.
Say it, what?
European Parliament just passed a major deportation plan. Some of the tenets of it are that member states can deport rejected asylum seekers to third countries regardless of whether they have a connection to it. It allows for detention periods of up to 2 years and also offshore return hubs or detention centers similar to ours.
Who did this? Which country?
European Parliament, and the vote was not close. It was 389 in
Good.
favor to 208 against.
I'd vote with them, yeah.
Europe is where you are now. Do you think that will move the needle with Democrats?
I don't care about the Democrats. The Democrats hate our country. The Democrats are in.
There you go, villainizing the entire party because, you know, that's someone else did that too in the past, right? Make political opponents out of them, say that they hate the country.
Chaos right now. And they have no common sense.
Projection.
You know, they have one quality that's amazing. They stick together. And it's harder because they stick together.
Have you seen the Democratic Party? Have you seen the left? It's like herding fucking cats. If Democrats stuck together, Hal would have like 1 million and 2 million subscribers already. I'd be up to over 100,000 because, you know, we have so many very different opinions and we're constantly fighting each other. The fact that we're actually managed to flip not 27, 29 legislative seats that were Republicans is more so because of how badly you are doing than because of how we're able to work together. Thank you, Broomba, for the follow.
They're a ridiculous policy like men playing in women's sports, open borders for everybody, including murderers and anybody else that want it. We're open to you. Come in, murderers. You know why they do that? They do that for a couple of reasons, but they do it for votes because they think they're going to vote for the Democrats, even though I did great with the Hispanic.
I know that, Christine. I got you.
Vote. Tremendous with the Hispanic vote. You know, I turned that
like no one's ever seen
whole thing around. The Hispanics like me and I like them. And you know, it's interesting with the Hispanics. When I built the wall,
especially the ones that voted for you or supported you, or like, you know, was all MAGA, like all trying to, you know, say, hey MAGA, let's do MAGA stuff, and then they get deported.
Everybody said, oh, that's going to ruin us for the Hispanic. It was just the opposite. They know all about immigration and they know all about death and crime, and they're smart people and they have common sense. They wanted to be protected from the people that were coming into our country. So, you know, I won the election with a very tremendous Hispanic vote, and I think it's higher now than it was then. So,
lie.
We're a party of common sense.
I thought he said he doesn't joke.
The Democrats are a party of insanity. They're a
projection
party that will destroy our country. If I didn't win this election, I believe our country would have been destroyed by now. 1 year, that's all it would have taken. If you had Kamala or Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, the guy with Trump tattoos deported to Cuba, which is starving. Exactly.
Either one, it wouldn't have mattered. They're the same thing. Two sleepy people. Two stupid people.
Two sleepy people. Forget the fact that I was sleeping earlier today in the meeting. Forget that I was dozing off. Don't call me sleepy.
I believe, and by the way, Gavin Newsom, who is one of the candidates, I believe he took himself out of the running when he says he suffers from mental disability. And a reporter said it was terrible that I talked that way about somebody with mental disability. I said, I have no problem with it, but I don't want a person with mental disability to be my...
I mean, he did the whole, hand thing, making fun of the reporter. And, we obviously know that you have no problems making fun of people with disabilities. I mean, clearly. And that should have been enough from the get-go. But for some people, they just, again, made excuses.
President. I mean, you don't want to have a person with mental disability being your president. And Gavin Newsom said that he can't read a speech. He can't do almost anything. And then he said he's as dumb as all the people in the room. And he got accused of being a racist, which was an amazing set. I thought it was the worst interview I've ever seen anybody give.
Have you watched your own?
He's actually a very stupid person. So
projection.
I believe he's out of the running.
Dyslexia is not a mental disability, unlike dementia. Yeah, exactly. Dementia.
I think that statement, that interview, he admitted that he's a stupid person. I don't want a stupid person being president. I'll say it right now. I say it.
Then resign, motherfucker!
I'm the only president that ever...
You don't want a stupid person being president, then resign, motherfucker!
A cognitive test. I took it 3 times.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. That means I'm a brilliant person for being able to remember 5 words.
It's actually a very hard test for a lot of people. It wasn't hard for me.
It's so hard to remember 5 words. Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
But it's a cognitive test.
Janelle, he's got a squeeze box. Daddy never sleeps at night. In and out, 'cause he's playing all night. Trump is not bright.
It starts off with an easy question. And by the time you get to the middle, it gets tougher. By the time you get to the end, very few people can answer those questions. They get very tough, mathematical equations and things. I took it 3 times. I aced it all 3 times.
And I got 1 + 1, and it took me only 4 times to figure out it was 2, but I still passed.
In front of numerous doctors that I have no idea who they are. And I was told when I went in, they said, Doc Ronnie told me this. My current doctors were fantastic doctors. They said, well...
Like no one's ever seen.
If you take it, it's Walter Reed. It's essentially a public hospital. And if you do badly, it's probably going to get out. But I aced it. I got them all right. And one doctor said, I've never seen anybody get them all right.
Because he was kissing your ass. And maybe he made sure that it was nice and wiped down clean before doing so.
Doing the test for 20 years.
They said...
I would love to see...
They said I was incontinent, and I said, yes, I'm in North America, and that's a continent, and I passed my test.
Anybody that's a president or a vice president, or anybody that has any chance of being a president, I would like to see them take a cognitive test. Because we had a man...
I'd love to... let's have him do it live. Do the cognitive test live. That's the Liberal Dan Radio Challenge to Donald Trump. Do a cognitive test live so we can all see just how well you aced that test, Donnie boy.
Office that had no clue what was happening. And let me give you a little secret. He wasn't a smart man 30 years ago. And I'll tell you about President Obama. He wasn't a smart man either. I know all about him. He wasn't a smart man. Highly overrated.
Projection. Hey, Eben Eric, good to see you.
He was a great divider. And our country can't go through that anymore. Can't go through.
Yes, because you've spurred unity in the country. Actually, no. No, Donald Trump has made more unity than whatever, because now more and more people disapprove of your bullshit.
We have done an amazing job. I had to do a little stop.
Maybe that's what the orange is, betadine.
Over. I call it an excursion. I had to do a little stopover in Iran, and we had to knock the hell out of them because our country would not have been safe. The world wouldn't have been safe. I've done a great favor for the world. The world has not been reciprocal because...
They're so unfair to me and, calling me out on my bullshit.
When I told NATO, where we give billions and billions of dollars, trillions over the years, I said, do you mind coming up and giving us a little hand with the streets? Send up some... They didn't want to get involved.
Give us a hand with the straights, but not the gays. Again, I'm convinced he thinks that there's a gaze of Hormuz.
And I believe that's going to cost them dearly. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so there's Donnie Boy shutting the hell up. Goodbye, Donnie Boy. No need to talk to you again. Anyway, so I think I've had enough for tonight. Let's see, for a year she was stuck on me telling me a documentary she watched about the Bee Gees. I was telling you over and over and over again, right? And I mean, that's what Donald Trump does, right? I apologize, Distant Galaxy, for losing your brain cells. I feel like I've lost much more than that during that. But, you know, there was a couple of those points I wanted to hit. And I kind of needed show filler because it's been a really shit week. And I wanted to make sure that I had at least something to talk about. And once that was on, I was like, okay. One thing about the Trump administration, you definitely are going to find something to talk about for 2 to 3 hours every time you have a show. Because they do so much stupid shit that it causes a lot of things to talk about. But anyway. Thank you, everybody, for watching Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. We still got the 96 viewers. I appreciate y'all for hanging around so long after coming around, after watching Hal, for staying around with me longer. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate the Sparklerverse for all of y'all to, just coming and helping my show grow, get more people to subscribe, share some content. A bunch more content is coming out in the days, weeks, and months to come. I'm going to try and hit that 2,000 mark by my birthday, try and hit 3,000 subs by the end of the year, and maybe we can surpass that. I don't know, but I can't do it without your help. So like, share, subscribe, share, help the algorithm, because Al Gore needs more rhythm. Thank you all very much. Unless something big comes up and happens over the course of the weekend, I'll work on some other stuff that I have to work on, maybe produce some other smaller videos and get them uploaded. But otherwise, appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Share a bunch of the videos, especially the music ones that you like. Appreciate that. Make sure some of those videos have gotten my last Liberal Dan Chomper City has got almost 700 views at this point, and most of my other ones hadn't gotten over 50. So again, appreciate anybody who shared that one, everybody who's looked at it, watched it, whatever. I appreciate every single one of y'all for doing that. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am, and only upwards from here, right? So thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Since I'm thanking the Sparklers, let's play Welcome to the Sparklerverse first, and then we'll play the Everybody New and maybe one other song before we take off. So have a great one, everyone. Peace.
House Sparks running boy on the mic tonight, breaking down the chaos with human light. From Megan Worldwide to the nerd hailing things, leading the charge in this live stream age. Welcome to the Sparklerverse tonight, where the smart talk lands and the jokes take flight. If the world's gone weird and absurdly terse, come laugh it out in the Sparklerverse. Live in the mornings with sexy liberal flair, Stephanie Miller crafting truth on the air. Punchlines flying like fireworks in June, intelligence cutting straight through the gloom. Dan Liberal Dan arrives with rhetorical might, bringing you talk from the left, that's right. Hypocrites and rednecks he will smite, but that after dark show is nowhere in sight. Welcome to the Sparklerverse, please subscribe, cause the trolls get toasted and truth survives. It's a worldwide bar for the curious mind. Pull up a chair, you'll fit just fine. Boston Ryan spitting facts wicked high. They're calling out nonsense right in the eye. If they take gate logic, can't back the car. Then he dunks on bad takes like a Sox all-star. Fill up in a bringing the world to view. Frontline updates straight from Ukraine to Rob Glenn, upping out of the digital sea, talking AI and what it might be. Farron Dublin with the writer's eye so keen, certain breaking news into a biting scene. Trucker John rolling in through the night, and don't forget the mods who keep it all right. Different voices, but all refined. Different hours, most of the time. United in cutting through the news. All cheered on by the Sparkler crew. Welcome to the Sparklerverse tonight, where curiosity keeps the lights on bright. Smash that like and come to converse. We're broadcasting live from the Sparklerverse. Hey, hey, hey. so complicated. The Obamacare debate was 6 months litigated. Years of med school debt got capitalized. Insurance claim forms so high they nearly capsized. But he wouldn't know the frustration of trying to get prior authorization. Everybody knew, the whole world knew, the doctors, the lawyers, the CBO crew. Oh, 30,000 pages of ready review. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. Don't realize Obama deported, but the porter-in-chief is what La Raza retorted. Obama went after the violent folks and felons, Trump nabbed the dishwashers and people picking melons. But Obama's argument shows that he's not very bright. If Obama made some wrongs, 2 wrongs don't make a right. We knew. He asked who knew a virus could be so contagious. Virologists blinked at someone so outrageous. He was surprised at how many countries existed. No wonder when the virus spread, he's the one who missed it. Spread them out, slit red in every deadly hue. World Health Memo said we already knew. Everybody knew. Oh, the whole world knew. Oh, the lab coats, the leaders, and we were with the flu. Oh, the nations of the world, more than 192. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. You unveiled oxygen like contraband air. Like 60. You sat down, claiming to discover chess. War called money was his big surprise. Iraq has oil, can you believe your eyes? He said, we are divided, a surprise to no one thinking. And he was most surprised a Republican was Lincoln. Everybody knew, the whole world knew. The Christians, the Muslims, atheists, and the Jews. Like being shot, they have animals at the zoo. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten, hung in a hallway where no tour can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list, object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. The testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list, an administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist.
stacked floor to the wall, top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed, but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. House includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Encampments downtown, tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't beat. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A payout in secret, an NDA signed, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag 'cause he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the